Hello there, and welcome to Last Revolution podcast, episode 6, or at least, Mark, we think it's episode 6. We're just going to go with it, right? It's been an interesting day, or it's been an interesting week actually. But so, we've got a ton of stuff to go through today, and it's going to be really random, sporadic, and it's going to go in some really interesting directions. So, I'm Nathan Lucius, and this is my friend and all-round inspirational leader to the movement. I'm still sticking with that, mate, because you are leading the movement at the minute. So Mark Byford, the bowler hat farmer. Hello, Mark.
Nathan, how are you doing, fella?
We're all right today. A bright-eyed and bushy-tailed comes to mind. Don't I? It's
Good man.
it's
Good
either
man.
I've
That's
had,
what we need.
well, there you go, too much sleep or too much coffee or a combination of both. How about
Well,
that?
there's also a bit of sunshine outside, which tends to
Yeah,
revitalise us, doesn't it? I've
yeah,
noticed the last couple of days, I've had shit to sort out for parents, and I've been like, busy into that, and
yeah.
I've got the van to sort out for an MOT, and it's just like, right, all these jobs just got to be done. So
Never
I haven't
stops though,
had
does
any.
it?
Well, I haven't had any window washers on the van for 10 months. So
Right. Okay.
thought I better get them sorted out for the MOT.
Question about that. I'm not going to go into why. Is it illegal to drive without windscreen wipers?
Wipers, yes.
Yes.
Washers, no.
Washers. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at
But
that.
the washers have to work. The washers
Right.
have to work when it goes for the MOT.
Right. Which makes
So
sense.
I got the pump working last year, or a friend did. He cleaned it all out and got it working. But this year it was just dead, so I had to replace it. So for the sake of 20 quid, it's done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I can tick that off the list.
I was going to say for 20 quid, mate. I mean, that's relatively cheap these days for well, for
Yeah.
pretty much anything in the UK, isn't it? I mean, it's just
Yeah,
it's
it's one of the
price
things.
overload.
I'm quite privileged to the fact my dad was a mechanical engineer, so I've had a pretty good grounding of how to do most things in my life. Because it needed rewiring because the little plug on the end was different, and so it took me 10 minutes worth of messing about, but it was nothing. We got it done. Got it done, and I was very excited when it all worked.
Well, yeah, it's nice when anything works, isn't it? It's just
Well, yeah.
I usually go into something these days going, well, I'll give it a shot, but it's not going to work because it's either designed obsolescence, or designed just to make things difficult, and then you got to ship out a ton of money to get things fixed. So
That's the benefit to having a camper van. What's nearly 39
yeah,
years old.
wow,
Then things were meant to be. They were meant to last, and two, they were meant to be repaired.
yeah,
You know,
as
my
opposed to
dad said,
replaced.
yeah, absolutely. I look at it and I think to myself, it's a 39-year-old van. It's not had a bush or a bearing put on it since it was new. That gives you an idea. Well, now you wouldn't have a modern tractor would want a bearing replaced probably every 6 months. Because they're just crap made.
Right.
Not, they're not made so you can give them maintenance.
Yeah.
It's just got really simple things on it called grease nipples. You just get underneath, stick some grease in the nipples, and away you go.
Grease nipples. I mean, it sounds. I'm going to go with interesting. Let's go. What? So it's not my mind's not in the gutter or anything. Just believe me. Right then, mate. I have got right. I'm gonna go through what I would like to ask
Go
you on
on.
this one. So I've got right. So this is like a very eclectic mix. The power of prayer and whether it's
Yep.
effective. Um, what happened to personal accountability? So again, looking at the state of society, is personal improvement necessary? Is personal accountability a thing of the past? Is it something that needs work on? Which looks into things like self-awareness and improvement. And then I want to go from that to what's your personal philosophy on life? Linking that in with the prayer, the spiritual angle, and then we're going to take a complete U-turn and look at poisons in everyday products. So that can be from anything from soaps, food, containers, packaging, stuff that they put in supermarkets, all synthetic. So I don't know how much we know about that at the minute, but I mean, are we okay talking about that?
I got sent a video this morning,
Go on.
which I will forward to you.
Yeah.
Right, it blew my head because the guy he's got a whiteboard and he says, I know it's just cutting across slightly, but I'll tell you this because it's relevant. The guy says, why do most of my friends these days not have the ability to have a conversation with me or be able to think about things anymore? Cognitively, they can't deal with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then he writes on the board and he says, well, glyphosate, fluoride, drugs, and he just goes down the list. And it was just like, wow, it was so powerful because it was like, it's those 7 things where you think, absolute Jesus, that's what it is. Yeah. People's brains are so tangled with trying to work out how to just get through the day, and they're struggling over, the body's too hot, the body's too cold, the body can't think, the body can't stop thinking, whatever it might be, paranoia and all these other things what are going on because of all the shit what's in their bodies. And it was just like a really powerful video, really powerful. Only a couple of minute and a half long. Brilliant.
Yeah, send it across, mate, because all of that, I mean, again, this is something that I would suggest that we all need to be aware of, because we are being hammered from all sides, and most of us are completely unaware of it, like oblivious to it. The reason I brought that up is because this morning, I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, so it's probably not coming across. Right, so my wrist is
bruised
like...
yourself.
Well, it's not bruised, it's red, so I've got a massive rash on there, and it's puffed up. Right, and it's really itchy, and I'm thinking, well, what's done that? Now, the other wrist is fine, right? So whatever I'm wearing or whatever I'm doing with both hands. But for whatever reason, my right hand wrist is just like right. So I was speaking about this to Holly earlier, and she said it's your washing up liquid, right? Yeah. And I thought, well, yeah, you're right. It is. It likely is, especially as I've changed. Well, I haven't changed brand. I got a cheaper brand. Moment of insanity.
It's got more bleach in it.
Well, it's absolute garbage. But it's definitely. I mean, the correlation's there straight away. So I thought, well, actually, this would be a really good topic of conversation to discuss the absolute amount of synthetic chemicals and ingredients and chemistry that's been utilized against us en masse. I mean, this isn't something that they're targeting the individual with; they're targeting society with this stuff worldwide.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what the chemtrails are about. It's all about more chemicals just constantly dumbing us down. And that is, as we move forward, we're going to have to look at how we deal with these things en masse.
Yeah. You mentioned something interesting. I think it was you anyway. You mentioned something interesting the other day that now that there's a war kicking off again in the Middle East, and all of the let's say aeronautical industry now seems to be prioritized in a different location. Is that perhaps why we're getting slightly better skies these days? I mean, this is unusual, right?
I don't know if that's the answer, but it definitely is happening. We've definitely had a lot more blue skies since they went to war in Iran. So, like you say, whether the planes are tied up,
just a bit.
We know this is fact that the chemicals what come in to produce the chemtrails in the UK are flown into Mildenhall Air Base, which is an American air base. They are flown in there from the United States. So, whilst Trump and Kennedy keep telling us that they're getting rid of all this stuff and they're not going to have as much of this going on, I would say that either somebody high up in the military with the power to make that shit happen is on someone else's payroll and not Trump's and Kennedy's.
I would agree. I mean,
right?
we've heard this.
Trump might have said this has got to stop, but somebody inside the system somewhere is making sure that those chemicals still get to the UK. And not just the UK. Let's be honest. This isn't a UK thing.
Well, I've got
a friend down who's just moved out to Oz, and he said, mate, I can't believe since I was here, 8 years ago, he said the skies are just grey the whole time. It just, there's nothing. And he's in the outback, so they're even spraying out in the outback.
Which is bizarre, because you'd think if they were being economic about spraying, which is apparently a conspiracy theory, it's not. We can prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can. I'm not just saying that as an offhanded comment. We can prove that they're altering the weather and spraying stuff in the sky to block out the sun. Right. This.
Well, it says on the government website now.
Well, it says in the UN website as well, as far as I'm aware. There's plenty of patents out there.
Absolutely, this isn't something you and I have made up. This is well documented. Yeah.
But equally, if so, again, going back to the idea of it being economical, if they are doing this to target society, you would think that they'd leave certain areas alone. So, like, I mean, did they spray over the Amazon, for example? Did they spray in the middle of the Congo? Are they spraying over, the tundra and ice caps and things like that? Or I mean, to me, if you're going to do it,
No,
it's
you
crazy,
need
though,
to do
isn't
it
it?
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think they're certainly not doing South America. I don't know about the full of Africa. Certainly, Gloria would know about Nigeria. Probably, I think
yeah,
that was going on out there then. Europe's definitely copying it, badly copying it.
big time.
Russia isn't getting it for some reason, which says to me that someone said you're not doing it here.
Hmm.
Um, China is all about suppressing their people, so it goes on out there. And then every
Yeah,
Western civilizational country, if you look at Canada, America, right across Europe, right and through Australia, New Zealand, and anywhere else that the British have touched, it's going on.
yeah.
So, I think there is a level of knowledge about it, and
Hmm.
there is something being done about it. And whether we're going to get a bit more sunshine this year than last year because the planes are occupied,
Mm.
absolutely bring it on. That's what I reckon. You know, um, I think you got to ask the question: how much longer does it go on before people kind of think they need to react to it as
Just
well?
yeah, just this is the bit that's I get it. It's intriguing, right, in a way. I mean, it's worrying, but it's also intriguing because I mean, I've been pointing it out for a year, at least 10 years. I've been yapping on about it, right? Because it's this grey, yellowy, neon blanket cloud that we're hammered with. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not being
it's
funny,
not
but
natural.
well, of course it's not natural. I mean, what I'm looking at now outside, and again, I've got mostly blue skies there. But as a kid, I remember you grow up, and even if you get thunder, you still get patches of blue there. It's not
Yeah,
blanketed.
yeah,
It's you get like a heavy cloud cover,
absolutely.
but the formations are natural back then compared to what they are now. And so when you talk about chemtrails to people, I like and they dismiss it as a conspiracy theory. It's like, well, has it not occurred to you that you barely get a sunny day anymore. That you're constantly covered in blanket cloud. I mean, it's just everywhere, and it's
Yeah,
horrible, it's oppressive.
the problem is, Nathan, that a lot of people believe the bullshit that we've got
Yeah,
climate change going on, and with
yeah,
that climate change, it obviously brings forward the whole ability to be able to dismiss things. Oh
yeah,
no, that is all it is. You don't need to question it. This is because of more ozone. This is because of more,
yeah,
the climate's getting warmer. This is, whatever bullshit they want to give us.
yeah.
It's nothing to do with any of that. It's purely just a chemical reaction which is going on
Mm.
as a result of aluminium and polonium, whatever it is, which is being put into the atmosphere. So yeah, I do think that it'd be nice to think we are going to get a bit more sunshine this year.
It would.
And I'm,
Unfortunately, the only caveat to that is, unfortunately, somebody else has to go to war for that to happen. So
yes,
that's the downside of it. But equally, yeah, please give us some more blue skies. But I mean, there's so many levels of looking at the amount of poisons that they're chucking at us especially from the skies, because it is suppressive. But it's not just the chemicals that's raining down on us; it's the fact that they're blocking out the sun, which blocks our endorphins, it's serotonin production and things like that. All of that's being slowed down, and
yep,
when you suppress that kind of biological uh, just well, what am I going with here? The biological process, I guess,
yeah,
in
yeah,
your
yeah,
endocrine system and things like that. Then that is going to have an effect on your mood, your productivity, your purpose. I
hundred
mean,
percent, 100%.
it's depressing, isn't it? I mean, it's depressing. It makes you anxious. It makes you not want to go out. Makes you not want to do things. It's horrible. And so the days that we do
And
get,
you've just described
yeah,
50% of the population. You've just
easy,
described,
yeah,
at least 50% of the population that are in that. Oh, I don't want to go out.
yeah,
You I can work from home. Yeah, I work from home today. I don't want to go out because it's not safe to go out anyway. Well, there's so many, stabbings and killings going on. I don't want to go out on the streets. And
yeah,
then what I'll do is I'll stay at home and I'll just get Tesco's to deliver to me. So that'll be the best bet. And
yeah,
that's what they're being led to believe. You know. I look at it like this. I left home this morning. I went and did a few jobs for my parents and got a few things sorted out. And I come home and I didn't get stabbed. And the sun's shining. And I felt great as a result of going out and doing the jobs. And I'm like back home and I'm like, yeah, Christ, what a great day.
Yeah, but I mean, if you allow that to hold you back, so I mean, a lot of the times when I do feel like that, it's like, right, now is the time to go out then, because otherwise I'm going to get stuck in a rut, and then I'm going to start, my mood's going to start getting affected. But equally, around where I am at the minute, because I spend half my time in Teesside at the minute and half my time down in the Cotswolds, and where I live up here. Very, very. I mean, some of the roads that I'm on, there's a lot of stabbings. I mean, genuinely, a lot of stabbings. In fact, there was, I think, about 6 months ago, in one of the rougher parts of Teesside, there was like gang warfare going on with guns and knives and machetes, and I'm thinking, where the hell's all this stuff coming from? And this is only young lads, right? We're talking about the youth, and I'm going to say. Native youth, if you know what I mean, so it doesn't sound racist or anything like that. But it's white kids, it's white lads that are doing this, and it's just like, what the hell's going on? But equally, I'm not going to let that stop me going out, because otherwise, then the system's won. Because it wouldn't surprise me, mate, if and again, I can't prove it, so it is theoretical. But it wouldn't surprise me if certain elements were definitely being paid or put up to do this. Like it's like the so-called roadmen on their bikes all the time. 100%. It's a fear tactic. Right?
Yeah.
But
100% is going on.
Yeah, but can we prove that? I mean, it's because again, I can say that, and then anybody listening could dismiss it as a wild theory, look at these paranoid and be like, okay, I accept that. It just sounds paranoid. But equally, where has this culture come from? Where is this culture of driving around on bikes wearing ski masks and driving around with knives, and where's all this come from all of a sudden? I mean, I say all of a sudden, it's been like this for about 30 years as far as I'm aware, but.
Yeah, well, I suppose the other problem is, Nathan, as well, that when we were brought up to respect things like knives and guns. Now, it's been in computer games, they carry everything, to make sure you kill someone so you stay alive in the game. And that, I think, is a big part of that moral dilemma we've got going on at the minute. We've had this kind of the whole of the social society is on breakdown mode. Everything what's been chucked at it, whether it's mum and dad don't need to stay together anymore because mum's better off being on her own, so dad can stay on his own place and just come round, sort mum out once a week and see the kids, and but mum's better off financially if dad's not there. The whole demise of society, in my opinion, and that's one of the greatest issues we've got to deal with moving forward, is how we get a society to move from where it was 50 years ago to where it is now and back again, because that they were good times. They were times you felt safe to walk down the street. They were times you felt safe to go take your kids to the park, all those things. At the moment, that doesn't exist. So in the next 50 years, it either gets 100 times worse or it goes back to how it was in the 50s. That's the reality of it. We've either got to go one way or the other. The difference is this time, Nathan, where it took 70 years to degrade the society, I don't think it would take long to put it back. I would say in 10 years you could put it back, because this goes back to kids and schools. And I say this, when we were kids, we were brought up with keep Britain tidy.
Yeah,
you didn't chuck your rubbish on the floor.
I remember that. I remember even the little bin symbols that they used to put around everywhere. It's like, bin it, bin it, and
bin it.
Keep Britain tidy. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's just chuck it on the street. So some other problem to clear it up. We also had the moral adverts. You might not. You're a bit younger than me. You might not remember these, but we always had. I can't remember the guy's name. There was a guy who used to walk about with a cartoon guy and a cat, and the cat used to go meow 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 meow. And the little boy used to interpret what he said. So if the little boy was in the park with the cat and a stranger come and talk to the little boy, the cat would tell him not to go.
No, I don't remember that one. But equally, you don't see that advertised anywhere these days, do you?
In society, those things were in place, that kids were taught not to talk to strangers. They were taught not to misbehave. Every village had a copper, for goodness sake. So even if we were, misbehaving as kids, we were never misbehaving in a bad way, because we knew there was a village copper and there'd be a ramification. Now, what have you got? You might see a police car in a village once a year. Well, now people just do what the hell they want, and cities no different. If you think when I was a kid, all right, perhaps before I was a kid, 40s and 50s especially, you had a bobby on every street corner. He blew a whistle if there was an issue. 10 coppers could come running.
Well, there was a
Now,
respect attached to that at the time, wasn't there? I remember that even as a
absolutely,
kid, there was you feared the bobbies
the
coming round.
uniform meant something.
Yeah,
The uniform meant something. And now it
yeah,
doesn't. And the problem is, and that's been deliberately put in place, because if you look
yeah.
at now where we are, 50 years ago, that uniform meant protection.
Yes,
If you were a
absolutely.
bad
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
and did bad things happened to you as a result of that uniform. They would get you, take you to prison, end of, right? And you'd get a
consequences.
proper sentence, right?
Yeah,
Now, what do you get? If you're a good person, you get locked up. If you put a post on X, and if you're
yeah,
a bad person and go around, gang raping people, then that's all right. You just get a smack on the wrist and,
yeah,
don't do that again. And this is how society is twisted. And that is a deliberate, in my opinion,
yeah.
deliberate attack on, and I will say this, on Christianity. And I
Right.
think that's a
Okay. Right.
relevant point.
Let's go into that then, because this is right. I'm not sure where I stand on this. But I do hear it a lot that there is a concerted effort against Christianity. Um, but then if you take certain parts of America, Christianity seems to be making this massive comeback. There's a massive push to bring
I
Christianity
believe it
back
is
onto
in
the
the
scene.
UK. I believe it is in the UK as well.
Right. Okay.
I
So
genuinely do. And the reason I
okay.
say it's an attack on Christianity, I
Hmm.
don't mean as in religiously an attack on the Christ and the church.
Yeah.
As a Christian, I believe that I was brought up under certain values. Right?
Yeah. Give us some of
And
those back. Again, I
okay.
hear this a lot,
So
so this is a good topic. So
if classic, so if I went shopping with
yeah.
mum and there was someone needed assistance, you gave them assistance. If someone needed a door holding open, you held it open.
Yeah.
If someone dropped rubbish, you'd either pull them up on it or put the rubbish in the bin, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
They were core values to us, to have grounded into us that these are the things you do and don't do.
Yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately, over the last 50 years, we've eradicated that two ways. It's been a double-fold issue.
Yeah.
So we've imported a lot of people into the country that do not share those values, and we've eradicated those values from our society as well. So, and that goes back to the fact that if a copper told you in the street you'd done something wrong, you went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't realise I'd done that," and you take the consequences, whether that was a fine, a smack round the side of the head, your mum being told about it, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Now, and I'll give you a classic on this. Teachers, right? When I was at school, and we had one teacher, and he was, I'm not going to say violent towards kids, but there was a line, and if you crossed it, you knew what the consequences were. You got a board rubber through at your head, right?
And I did experience, well, not personally at me, but I saw this happening in the class a lot.
Or there was the potential of getting caned in schools, whatever. And if you got that happen to you, you wouldn't dare go home and tell your mum because you'd get another one.
Yeah.
Now where are we? 50 years on, where are we? If you can't even tell a child off in school now because they go, "Oh, you've offended me."
Yeah. Right.
Well, I identify as someone who finds that offensive. And then if the school was to tell you, you went home and told your parents, the parents would go to the school to your defense rather than taking up and backing the bloody teacher who's trying to rectify your misbehaving. And then they wonder why this society's so messed up. And this is the problem now that I see, that we've got to start with the young ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to give them a real harsh lesson in what society should run like, right? So we need to take this back into the primary schools, and we need to get kids to understand from a very young age. And Nathan, the challenge we're going to have now, right, is when we were kids, we couldn't go into a school assembly without saying the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, it's the same with us. Again, I mean, it was, I guess it was a religious school, but same.
Yeah, but whether you thought it was religious or not, you didn't even question why we did the Lord's Prayer. You just did it, right? Now, oh no, we can't do that. Because now Christian kids, because it'll offend the Muslims, and now Christian kids are being taken to mosques to show them what's inside of the mosque and how they can pray to Allah and that Allah's God. Well, I'm a Christian. I don't want that shit for my kids. So, at some point, the country's got to take control of the situation. The government clearly isn't going to.
I was going to say,
right?
the government's doing this, mate. Still, as far as I'm
Of course
concerned, this is all part and parcel of the agenda that we've talked about at length.
100%. And I think a big part of that is the eradication of Christianity. Now, I don't think, hand on heart, it's because they want to change us over to Muslims. That is just them playing us against them.
Yeah,
right?
it's polarizing dialectics, isn't it? It's setting one against the other. Always the same thing. Yeah, because it's effective.
If they allow all the Muslims to come here, who does it piss off? It pisses off the British Christians, right? So then who kicks up? The British Christians. And then you end up with two factions fighting each other that don't really hate each other. They're just fighting each other because of the divide, what's been given to one lot of people and how they're protected and looked after in society against the people who are native not being treated even in the same way. But they're not. They're treated in a worse way.
Well, look at what Starmer's done recently, right? Sorry to interrupt, but Starmer's come out lately a lot, actually, and it's all pro-Muslim, pro-immigrant, pro.
Yeah.
What number one? Why are the people of the country putting up with this? I mean, I know a lot of people are calling him out as being I don't even say that now because we can get arrested if we offend the politicians. I mean, it's totally inverted, right? But there are some very unequal treaties and opportunities being brought into this country, which is biased against the natives, which is biased against people who were brought up here, and I'm not just on about the white population, about anybody that's been in this country and that's been naturalized.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. No, this isn't about Christians and Muslims or black and white. Yeah. It's gone
exactly
way past that now.
Yeah, but then that's the way they paint it, and they're very, very effective. But of course they're effective. They own the media. They've got they've got that power to throw it at people, and people bloody buy it up and eat it. I mean, as far as when I was at school, there was one, I'm going to say, African lad there, right? Yeah. I just happened to be his best friend at the time, and you know what? Everybody loved him. I'm not joking. This guy was so popular. Everyone wanted to be his friend. He was massive, and he was really tall for his age. I'm not going to mention his name, but everyone wanted to be his friend. Everyone loved him. As far as I'm aware, there was no racism, right? And you're on about a predominantly white school with a lot of kids in a relatively affluent area of Teesside, I guess. I didn't see. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I didn't see any racism, right? Not towards him.
Same
right, and but theoretically, what we're being told now in the media that is, we'd have to be. They'd embarrass him. They'd stick him in the front of the assembly and say, right, we've got to respect his heritage, his culture, his features. Oh, no. There is no racism until you created it, and now they've brought it massively into the public spotlight. And I'm not racist. You're not racist. Nope. But we are being. But we can't criticize it because then we get accused of being racist. But going back to this whole, the Christian ideals and things like that. I mean, again, a lot of the things that I wanted to discuss on the list today, you've just mentioned all of them there. You've mentioned accountability. Where's that gone? There's morality and ethics. That's on the floor. I mean, as far as I can tell, most people don't even know what morality is these days. There's respect and consideration for others. That's gone. I mean, I can say that just from my neighbours. I mean, there's no consideration there at all, right? It's just like they don't care. If they want to do a thing, they'll do a thing. They don't care about consequences. Look back on things, Nathan. When we were at school, right, we would sit down in assembly, for instance, and we would go through Bible stories, whatever it was. There'd be ethical stories taught to us to keep us morally correct. And that's but we learned them. Yeah. And they made them fun as well. That's the good thing about assembly. I used to hate assemblies, but the stories in it, all of that was brilliant.
And I know from my side, I was brought up to go to Sunday school every Sunday and every Wednesday. We used to do Sunday school. They did a church thing on a Wednesday night as well. But we used to go to Sunday school and we'd have our outside time, playing rounders and things. And then we'd come in and they would tell us a Bible story. And then David or Phil, the two brothers what ran it, would then break that down and tell us how that fitted into today's world, into today's society, and how people should behave now as a result of, how Jesus behaved then, or, how the 12 commandments came about, whatever 10 commandments were, and the 12 disciples and all of it, and we learned about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and we had a basic understanding at a young age. And then you know, as you went through the Sunday school, you started to learn a bit more about the moral side of things and how dilemmas, what people faced, made them stronger and more, you know, more vigorous, and would bring them out, and you know, and how certain things in the stories meant something. Now, what we got? Disney filling kids' heads full of shite, which has got no relevance, and he's always got dark secrets tucked in it. It's always got the number 33 or the number 666 in it. It's always got all, you know, all the bloody acceptability. There was one came up the other day, and there was they were talking about Pinocchio, and about if you break down the story of Pinocchio, you know, that it is nothing to do with what we believe it is.
Well, telling lies, like, and then that's what I took out of that, is you don't tell lies, right? But
no, but when you actually break down, you know, that you could, I'll use the other one as a better example, right?
Yeah.
If you look at Peter Pan, we thought Peter Pan was the good guy. We thought Hook was the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
But when you actually look at it, Peter Pan was the one stealing the children. Peter Pan was the one trying to stop the kids going home. Hook was trying to actually rescue the kids. And
he's the bad guy.
Led to believe, and he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? So
what does that tell you?
It's been flipped on its head. All of the Disney films, when you look into them, they all have the hero's journey built into them, which I love.
Yeah.
But they also have this very dark side to them, where acceptability and accountability is always given to the wrong person.
I mean, this is fascinating. I mean, to be fair, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, Disney to me is just it's just it's mind controlling and behavioral conditioning. I mean, what you said earlier about we need to get like the youth, right? And so it's Ignatius Loyola. I think he was one of the original ones to coin it. Give me a child at the age of 7, and I will show you the man. In other words, because the child's mind is malleable and they're soaking everything in it, you know, they're hyper focused, they're energetic, they're open. I mean, they're wide open. Their minds are wide open at that age, right? And so you can mold them to your own specification, program them, condition them, get the behaviors. If you do it right, but if you do it right, you can teach them to be moral, respectful, considerate, upright, purposeful, driven, motivated. Right? These are all good traits that you can take a child at the age of 7 and say, right, we are going to take this child and put a productive thinker in the world who's going to make positive changes. Right? You could do that. I mean, it is easy to apply that. However, you're right, that is no longer a thing. What they're doing now, like with Disney,
dumbing the kids down.
Absolutely. It's satanic inversion.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is.
Can I ask you, so you mentioned assemblies there, and I used to hate assemblies but love them. It depends on the nature of the assembly. As much as, again, I don't specifically identify as a Christian, although under certain conditions I would do.
I'm the same. I'm not religious. I'm not religious.
Right, but
I do that. But for me, I must be a Christian, right? Because on the grounds that I was born to a Christian family. I was christened in a Christian church, married in a Christian church.
Yep.
I brought my kids up to go through the same thing. I bought into the whole school side where we celebrated Easter and Christmas.
Yep.
You cannot accept any of that if you're not mentally a Christian, right? So
absolutely.
I don't see myself as someone I don't go to church. I don't believe in that. I see a vast difference in between God and religion.
Absolutely.
And that's always been my beef.
Yeah.
That I couldn't accept religion because I was brought up to believe that God and religion are the same thing. So I could never accept religion because I couldn't accept God rather because I was brought up to believe that religion. And when I started to realize that religion was only put in place for us as Christians by the Romans, and then you dig back into history and go, well, hang on, the Romans were the people who were crucifying Christians as a result. How did we end up with the Christians, the Romans? Well, because they knew they could tax people on it. That was all it was.
I think it goes a bit deeper than that. So I would agree with you there, and obviously there was a massive turnaround in Rome. I mean, when Christianity started to become a thing and it was making an impact, they tried to snuff it out, right? I mean, there was mass
Yep.
executions in the arenas, there was crucifixions, there was persecutions, it was a lot like a communist society under Roman rule, if we're being
Yep.
absolutely
Yep.
honest.
Absolutely.
I think the reason that the Romans then decided to U-turn on it and then adopt it as the official religion is because they saw the potential of, well, first of all, I think the movement was growing too rapidly, right? So first of all, they wanted to intercept it. They wanted to control it
Mhm.
because if you've got
Yep.
a spiritual movement, I think it was a spiritual movement back then as opposed to a religion. And it's teaching people about morality and ethics, and it's teaching people about the spirit, and it's taking them away from all their worldly burdens, and it's freeing their minds. It's freeing right
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that they're good for. So I think the Romans saw that and thought, right, we can't control the spread of this religion. We can't. It's clearly it's out there. People want this. So instead of controlling it, we're sorry. Instead of allowing it to
Take control of it. Yeah.
yeah, is to take control of it. So then, obviously, they stick a load of cardinals and bishops inside a room with all the scriptures and said, right, you're not leaving the room until you've agreed on the official dogma and the official doctrine, right? You put it to a vote, do whatever you got to do. Sideline certain scriptures you don't want in there, but we want to integrate the Roman religion into this, right? So you've got
Yes.
Judaism and you've got the Gnostics, you've got the early Christians, and then you've got the pagan Roman religion. Well, the Roman
Yep.
Church, again, Roman Catholic, which is and Catholic means universal. So they wanted to make this, they wanted
Mhm.
to take it, control it, wrap it up, and apply it to all of the citizens of the empire. They wanted to apply it to the whole world under their
Yep.
rule, under their directorship. And what people forget is the papal states are Catholic, right? And that comes
Yeah. Yeah.
from Roman, like this is a Roman construct where it's still in Rome. Okay, it's a separate part of Rome that's its own city state, but it's still Roman. This is the old Roman Empire still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, it's no longer called the Roman Empire, but it's still active within society and still got a massive amount of control. You know?
Yeah. And I would also say, Nathan, also that if you look at historically where we are now, is that we've got the ability now to be able to look back on history,
Hmm.
but we can only look back on what's there, right?
Only what's available to us.
Only
Yeah,
what's available. And
right.
that's what we're seeing at the minute. I said this to Gloria the other day. I was saying, we're in a position at the minute that we're watching a reset
Yeah.
in practice. Actually, 9,000
Yeah.
Christian churches have been burnt down in the last year across
Where?
Europe.
What? Across
9,000
Europe?
Christian churches have been burnt down across Europe in the last year,
Whoa.
right?
Okay. Right.
And that's when you get to understand we're watching the eradication of Christianity. The Church of England and the Catholic side have all been bought off and paid for. They're so
Hmm.
woke now it's untrue.
Yeah, I
So
know.
we're seeing the collapse of our system now. I do not
Yeah.
think that's because they want Muslims, right? I don't genuinely think that's the case.
I
What they
think it's
want
just about
is
control.
nothing. Now, if you look back, what I was going to say is if you look back on history,
Hmm.
how the Christians behave, as in the everyday Christian,
Yeah.
love thy neighbor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I shan't covet the neighbour's wife. All the things what morally put us on compass made us very subservient,
I would
right?
agree. I was going to say, I
So
mean, I could go into the whole religion being a psyop, an ancient psyop, a mind control
I think it
operation. I
was.
could, but
Yeah.
equally, I think for this one, we do need to look at the positives that came out of it as well as the negatives. We'll balance it out, but there is a lot of positives that did come from that, especially the cultural effect that it had on the UK and Western nations. Which is
Mm-hmm.
so. I'll let you continue, mate, because I cut you
Yeah,
off
yeah.
again
Well,
there.
if you look at, and what always makes me laugh about Christians, and I say not on the funny side, but Christians always want to believe, if they're a strong Christian, they want to believe that book is be all and end all,
Yes,
right?
true.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in the Old Testament, not the New
Interesting. Okay,
Testament.
go for it. Yeah,
So,
convince me.
right, so
Yeah,
so for me, they're very different books. So for me,
yeah,
Old Testament is tens of thousands of years worth of history, documents, scholars, knowledge,
yeah.
old libraries, everything being brought together of all the knowledge, what was handed down for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years was documented, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was, Moses, whether it was, big boats and the, floods and whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
It's all in there, right? And they were all very much about driving principles and morals, Solomon, if you turn around, you're going to turn into salt, right? Just worry about looking forward in life. Don't look back.
Yeah.
Just worry about going forward, right? And you can read into all these things. Now, then comes the New Testament. And for me, where the New Testament doesn't stack up is the fact that we've got either an Asian or African man who is the son. Well, I'm talking about Jesus, right?
Because right. So, okay, I'm jumping the gun a bit there. Okay, sorry.
We're portrayed to us that Jesus was blonde-haired, blue-eyed. If you see a picture of Jesus, he'll be the perfect, Englishman, with curly hair and maybe a beard, right? Yeah. And that is even true, even in Africa. Gloria will say the reason a lot of Christians want to come to Europe is because they've been led to believe that Jesus must have been European because of what he looked like, because that's the picture they've got on their school wall. That's the picture they've got in their church because we put it there.
Do you know where that comes from? I don't know whether I mentioned this before. Apparently, so do you remember the Spanish Pope? So we're about the Borgias, basically, the Borgia family. Well, apparently his son Cesare Borgia was very much that, as you've just described it there, sort of like the blue-eyed, the exactly as it's depicted today. And again, I don't know the truth of this. I don't know whether this is what did Jesus look like? I don't know. Presumably olive-skinned for one, black-haired for another. I would have thought, just based on the climatic conditions in that region. However, but apparently his modern depiction was created by the Borgias. Now, again, I don't know whether that's true. I mean, that's kind of late in, what is it, like 16th century?
Which fits in with King James's Bible and everything else. And,
just a bit. That's a good point as well, yeah.
So when you look at, if you go back to the New Testament, go, right, 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And pull to bits the story. And this is the bit for me. So we've got the Son of God.
Yep.
So, know
astrotheology and solar astrotheological.
The sun god. We know we used to worship the sun god. We also know that Mary is actually the planetary side of the Marian belt. So that's where the Virgin comes from. That's the chalice. We know all this. There's none of that comes from anything else other than that. Then you look at the date where Christianity alleged certain things happened. Easter, Christmas. We know that they're pagan festivals.
Absolutely.
We know that.
Yeah.
It's not any rocket science to go through the actual facts and go, actually, someone's very cleverly wound a load of stories together here, right? So to keep the pagans happy, to keep the sun worshippers happy, to keep this person happy, and that they've rolled it all into one and then said, look, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree. If you agree, move on with life. If you disagree, hang up there on a stake.
Just a bit.
That and you say about Roman communism. People go, the modern Rome. No, they were communists.
I think they were. I mean,
they controlled all the food. They controlled what people thought. Look at Caesar's statement, bread and circus. Everything was about the performance. They didn't ever think about anything from a point of, greater awakening, acceptance. It was all about getting rid of that. Everything in the Roman times was about, you will fit inside this freaking box.
Yeah. Hence the Romanization of the West, right?
Yeah. If you go back down, the rabbit holes and you look at things like pagan festivals, for instance, things we do now, things what we did then, for instance, places like Stonehenge, loads of these, stone buildings and that around the world, these where they've got these, energy places. We know that energy was something like the pyramids and things like that. We know
like ley lines and things like that.
Yeah, ley lines and things like that would give would give us that energy to keep us going through the winter. And, and I think that was all part of the dumbing down, because the minute you start to eradicate that information, people have a disconnect from what's around them. So we would have known years ago that, the Son of God is the moon. Think about that.
How do you work that one out? You lost me with that one.
Right.
Yeah,
the Son of God is the moon, because we worshipped the God. The God was the sun. It gave life to everything.
Yeah.
So what's a smaller version of the sun? The moon. So we would
this
go
is
through.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So why did we have 13 calendar months? Not like we do now with 12 calendar months. That's, again, another deliberate thing that's been moved so that it no longer lines up with 13 star signs.
I think that's out of convenience, isn't it? They like the number 12 because it's a nicely wrapped up number that you can fit. You've got the seasons, you've got 4 seasons, you can fit that in 3, 6, 9, 12. That's it. I mean, I've been wondering about this myself, actually, because if you do 366 days of which is like 365 and a quarter every.
It's 13 times 28.
Exactly that. And so I mean, that's not difficult maths to do. It doesn't matter what period of time you're in. That's not difficult maths, is it?
A woman's body cycle works on a 28-day cycle,
right?
And most women always came on, their period at the same time because they would be driven by the bloody moon, and they would collectively. And this is proven fact. This isn't Mark talking bollocks as a bloke. It's a proven fact that women used to have a time of the month where all the women in the village came on together. That's categorically proven. Right?
But what this, I mean,
they were in sync with each other. They were in sync.
Yeah.
They were in sync with nature. They were in sync with the world around them.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the things which we've now lost. And that was put in place by doing it on coming from a 13-month year with 28 days in each month. Why have we got 30 days in September, April, June, November?
Right.
But 31 in the others.
Well, ironically,
28 days on leap year and 29 on leap year and 28 days. What? But none of it makes sense when you look at the star patterns. That bit. So the leap year is obviously because you've got 365 and a quarter days, and then that adds up every 4 years. So I understand that it's effectively 366 in it. So I get the leap year. Yep. However, the irony of the date and the calendrical system that you've just been mentioning there is that both of them are Roman based. So you've got the early modifications by Caesar. So he gave us like one version of the calendar, and then that was amended. I can't remember what year, but it was many hundreds of years later by Pope Gregory. Cardinals did it,
yeah. So I forgot the bloody name of the calendar. I know this Gregorian. I can't remember the original version used by the Romans. Yeah, but ironically, both of these are Roman constructs. Yeah. So if we're gonna bring it back into Rome again, there's Rome's influence again, and to say that the Roman Catholic the Catholic religion doesn't have massive amounts of paganism and astrotheology thrown into there. I mean, that's just deliberate blindness, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. And this is what I say about This is what I say about Christians and not understanding the Bible, because I'm not saying I'm the world's most read person on the Bible. Don't get me wrong. I have read the Old Testament. I have read the New Testament some years ago. But the Old Testament makes sense to me. It makes sense in the stories. You can understand how those stories were things that happened. And as a result of the things what happened, it was documented. Yeah. And that information was passed down. Then you come to the New Testament and you go, everything contradicts itself. Nothing makes sense. And I say, when you start looking at, let's say, Jesus gets born into a stable to Mary. We know Mary is the Virgin Mary. Is the Virgin Mariah. We know it's the star constellation, the bottom of that. We know that there was 3 kings there. Right,
Orion's belt.
Three kings are the 3 stars. We know that, and this is what I say when people say to me, "Oh, you're trying to pull religion to bits." I'm not. I'm a Christian. I've got no reason to pull it to bits. I just don't believe the bullshit I've been told for the religious point of view against God.
So
Give me God.
let me ask you this then. Let me try and vindicate the pair of us with this one, right? So we are, I mean, again, I do get accused of going hard on Christianity, but that's only because I'm familiar with it, right? I'm familiar with
Sure.
it. I
Yeah.
understand it, and you're right. There's a ton of contradictions in there. Is it? And this is to you and the audience. Is it that we are pulling the religion to bits, or is it that the religious mindset refuses to look at it for what it is? Right. So to me, there's a
I'd
disconnect
agree.
there. I've got no problem with
Yeah.
the Bible as a
Nope.
literary source, as a library. I've got no problem. I think there is morality in there. I think there's history in there. There's poetry. There's spirituality. There's a lot of stuff packed into there. But equally, there's a lot of paganism thrown in there. And
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
Christians arguing relentless with you. No, it's not. It's not Christian. It's not pagan. Yes, it is.
It
It's
is.
primarily because of the Romans interfering with the process of it. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, they needed something. And if you look at, here's a classic example of how the Bible's changed.
Hmm.
So Adam and Eve, okay, have two sons.
Yeah.
Then there's no one else on the planet, right?
Yeah, I know where you're
We're
going with
told
this. So this is a curious one as well. Yeah, go on.
so
Yeah,
there's no one else on the planet. They have two sons, Cain and Abel.
yeah,
And we're told the human race came from that. How? Well, okay, let's go back a step, right?
yeah.
If you look in the Ethiopian Bible,
Oh, this is
in the
interesting. This came up the other day in one of my groups as well. This is, yeah, go for it.
if you look in the Ethiopian Bible,
Yeah.
Cain and Abel also had two sisters.
Okay,
Now,
I'm not from, right. Okay, go for it.
right?
Yeah,
So, and then could marry their brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever. Bear in
yeah,
mind, the chances are they were Muslim, right? Except Muslim, different morals to us,
hmm,
rightly or wrongly, don't care. Just talking about the historical side, right? Now, there probably wasn't Muslims then, no more than there was Christians then. There was probably just, whatever there was. They worshipped the sun. They worshipped pagans.
yeah,
Paganism worldwide. There was what there was, but it clearly states in the Ethiopian Bible, and that's taken out of our Bible,
hmm.
that Cain and Abel had two sisters, and that was what started mankind off. Now,
Which would make a hell of a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Because it's like you
well,
said. I mean,
here's
this is a
here's my
question I've
point.
always asked as a kid. Where
Yeah.
where did the population come from? From true,
Well, there's
Adam and
my
Eve, and
point.
then two brothers. Well, okay, technically
Well,
there's three with Seth, but
yeah, and so from a Christian point of view,
hmm,
you cannot look at that story and go, "Oh, well, I don't want to hear about the truth."
right,
You can't just go, "Well, look, the Bible states there was Adam and Eve and the three boys as they went forward." Well, no. That's bullshit, and we all know it because no matter how you look at it, if Adam and Eve had no other kids, just three boys, then mankind could not go any further.
right.
But we
Which
know there were
is
sisters.
but again, so with the religious mindset, and I mean this with all religions. So if
Yeah,
you fall into this, there is cherry picking the good bits and then just like shoving the other
yes,
bits under the carpet. It's like, well, okay, well we'll accept that and that because it sounds good, and then as soon as they're challenged on it, it's like, oh well, they'll deflect, they'll argue against it, and they'll make excuses for it. It's like, no, if we're taking this as the literal word of God or the inspired word of God, or if you're even taking it as a historical document, okay, well let's be logical about it, let's be rational, and let's question it, because if it can't be questioned, if something cannot be put under scrutiny, then there's something wrong with that narrative. If you
yeah,
cannot stand up to truth, if you cannot stand up to question, what does that say about your stories and about your narratives and about there's a bit of a problem there as far as I'm concerned. That's the issue that I have with all religion, is that you're not allowed to question it. But if you do, then this happens, right? What we're doing now is it's like, well, yeah, well then what about that? How did that work? Well, how do you explain
yeah.
that? Carry on, mate, because again, this is probably one of my favorite subjects ever. So I could
Well,
talk about this all day.
same here. I mean, I look at religion, and I've never read the Ethiopian Bible. Gloria got it off of a friend of ours last year.
Yeah,
To put certain things to bed, what she'd questioned over the years, and certain things that I'd brought to her attention and said.
yeah,
And so she got a copy of it. She went through those particular things to get those answers. And she's like,
yeah.
why did they feel the need? Why did they feel the need when rewriting the Bible under King James to take out an
Mm.
important bit like that? What did they have to gain by taking away something what was so fundamental? So fundamental, you know.
Would you say
I mean,
it because it reinforces a like a patriarchal narrative, maybe that it's because if you look at the bishops and the cardinals and the pope, it's all male, it's all masculine, it's
well, that's
all the.
exactly what I was just going to say.
Oh
Yeah,
right, sorry mate, I've jumped the gun
yeah.
again, but
I think exactly right. I think
right,
it was all about suppressing the knowledge of women and
yeah.
their importance. Because the minute you say there was women to carry on the human race, no, we got men to carry on the human race. We don't need the women. Now
I
you
was going to say
involve the woman and
I
go,
can't imagine
well,
how
you
they
can't
do
have
that without the
babies
women.
without women. No,
Right.
so but from a biblical point of view,
Yeah.
it's definitely been removed for a reason. And I think that was all about women are a lesser place than what men are.
Well,
And I do
history
think it's,
will prove that one. I mean, women have always been trodden on throughout history, as far as I can tell. I mean, again, I'm fairly well versed in history. Women, 99% of the time, get trodden on. They're lesser sex. They're they're only there to prop up men. They're only there to serve men.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but as a hermeticist, as an occultist, that's complete bollocks. You cannot have the male without the female, right? It's an
Well,
equal and
you
opposite
can't.
balance.
It's
Right?
the
It's
yin and the
simple as
yang,
that.
isn't it? You know,
Right.
it's that yin and yang. And you've also
Yes.
got on the other side of that, you've got, if you take out women out of the equation, why does it state everywhere through history, behind every good man is a good woman, right?
Yeah.
Behind
Yeah.
every strong man is a good woman, and that statement's there for a reason, because we
Yeah.
all know. I'm the first one to accept and admit I would be absolutely, completely without glory in my life,
Yeah.
and I'm the first one to accept it.
Yeah.
You know, I know that when we did the tour last year, I used to rock up and, smile and do my speech and come away.
Yeah.
And then, and I'd be saying to Glory, where are we sleeping tonight? What are we having for dinner? What about this? What about that? And, so she was in complete control of the situation. I was purely the front man in our relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, anyone looking on would go, oh, Mark's very much in control of that relationship. I was no more in control of nothing than a bath of water. I honestly, I genuinely mean that. And I mean that, for strength to her, because she completely got us through last year on our tour. I didn't.
Yeah.
I got in the van, turned the key, put in sat nav where we were going, and got there. When I got there, she took control of everything. I would stand up, do my speech, and nothing else. So for people, and that's what really winds me about the Muslim race, right? Is that how downtrodden women are in that religion. And, I understand we're all different. I get it, right? I get that. And this isn't a direct dig at the Muslims, but I just do have a frustration with the fact that you want someone to be there to cook for you, for clean for you, to give you your kids, to be there and do everything you want, yet you want them to cover their face up so no one can look at them. And I'm
that's a bit of an issue, isn't it?
And I can't get my head around. Now, maybe that's because I haven't been brought up into that way of life, accept that.
Okay.
Right. But do I want to be, is the other side of it. And coming back to my moral dilemma, I suppose, as I've got older, is back under Christian values.
Mm-hmm.
A man was there to do one thing: protect his wife and family. Right? That was his job.
Okay.
That was his job. There was no other reason for a man being there. His job was to protect the home. What was his wife's job? To make the home. Her job was to make sure that he got up in the morning, went to work, could do what he'd got to do to earn the money to come home to look after the realm, right? And that's one of the things now which has been destroyed. The necessity, to pay the bills and to meet all the criteria as a dad now, or as parents as a whole, the car needs paying for, the holidays need paying for, the school uniforms, this. There's so much to pay out because of bullshit that we're bought into, that now we can't just have dad going to work. Mum can't stay at home and look after the kids and look after the castle, right?
Yeah, so I agree with all of this. Yeah,
that's how it's changed. Now, you could argue, right? And maybe I'll get told off for this, but you could argue that morally in this country now, that we have a bank of people, and if I take house, and I say this from a societal point of view, right? Not Christian Muslim, societal point of view. For a dad with 3 daughters, all 3 daughters are single, right?
Right. Okay.
Were all married. They've all been married, had their children. Now they're all single. And I believe, rightly or wrongly, I believe it's because now society makes it very easy to be divorced. There's no reason anymore that people need to stay together.
Can I intercept there and say it's so regarding the sanctity of marriage. So I mean, I've gone on like certain videos and said, well, marriage doesn't mean anything these days, and then I've been pulled up on it, and rightly so. It's not that I don't agree with marriage. It's not that I fundamentally disagree with it. It's just that in society now, just in line with what you're saying there, it's lost its purpose. It's lost its meaning. I mean, the whole purpose of that was
100%.
was to commit to each other, to build a life
Till
together forward
death
and be productive,
does
right?
us part.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Until death do us part. Now, and that actually meant something to people years ago. Now,
Well,
the first
yeah,
argument they want a fucking divorce. And now we've even made, years ago where you'd have had to gone through months worth of courts and lawyers being involved to make sure, no, you just get a divorce in 28 days now. They don't have to even go to court. They've just belittled the situation more and more and more to make it easier and easier. Now, and what I was going to come back to was, so Christian women quite happily can now live on their own, money coming in from the system to protect them and the kids. So the man is now removed.
Well, it's a redundant role almost,
Right.
isn't it? I mean, they've split it and then they've made one half redundant and
Right.
inverted the sexes and then put them against each other.
Now take the Muslim faith, right? I can have 3 or 4 wives. So you've got exactly the same outcome.
I was going to bring this up as well. Yeah.
You've got exactly the same outcome. Those women are single and claiming benefits, right? And nothing against Christian Muslims.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook laid out slightly differently. So Christians have been led down one road, Muslims have been led down another road, and it all demoralizes the family unit.
Yes,
and for
absolutely.
me, that is the bit what's missing,
Which is part of?
It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the 2030 agenda.
Just that.
It always,
I was just going to say, that.
The old expression, all roads lead to Rome. That never changes, right?
Yeah.
And you can look at it and you go, well, when Dorothy was walking down the yellow brick road, she could tap her magic red shoes. The yellow brick road will always take you home. It will always take you home. It will always take you home. Why did they have yellow bricks? Because they represented gold. It was nothing to do with yellow bricks. That is, when you go through for anyone who hasn't looked into The Wizard of Oz,
Well, the symbolism in that
it's the symbolism in there is,
just a bit.
Pull back the curtain on life, and you suddenly see that you're just being controlled. When she realizes, she's like, "What do you mean? No." And the little dog's there pulling the curtain back, and he's like, "Oh my god," But all the things which are in these symbols, which are in all these videos and programs, and that we've been used to being brought up with, were put there to keep us in check.
It's a control mechanism. And again, this is why I make the argument, mate. Look, as far as I can tell, right, throughout history, and I'll say this quite often, you've got 3 psyops that have always been used against society as a whole. One of them is religion, right? So I think that one's clear to see from the perspective we're looking at it here. It's a control mechanism. It's a fear protocol. It's to keep people in line. It's to keep them controlled. Then you've got the state. And again, the state is your politics, is the role of your king, of your councillors, of your all of that, and that is to govern your mind, right? So you've got the governing of your spirit and your soul, which is I guess you can link that into your emotions as well. Then you've got your physical presence, so your body and mind belong to the government.
Mind and body,
right. And then you've got the financial institutions. And yes, okay, they've changed over the years. And I'm not on about any one in particular. But so money is the third operation of control, right? Because money is the tool that both church and state use to reinforce, right? So we're never going to allow you to be out of poverty. If we want a peasant class, because we need you to do as we tell you so that we can live in our prosperity whilst keeping the rest of you in austerity, right? So it's like, well, we are going to protect you. And you are going to basically build the world according to our specification. Oh, and then when we're finished with you, we're going to snuff you out and replace you. So it's money, state, and church, and it's always those 3 things that keep coming back up over and over and over again. And it's about mind, body, spirit control, right, or emotion, if you want to bring that into it. It's about that against full spectrum dominance. The only difference between 6,000 years ago and today is that technology has allowed them to do more. It's allowed them to, again, going back to the chemicals, going back to the stuff in the sky, going back to the propaganda in the media and the schools, right? It's all about control. And yes, money does play a massive part of that. Do follow the money. You know, just to quote the Romans again, "Qui bono?" Qui bono? Anyway, it's who benefits. Right? It's another Roman saying. It's another Roman phrase. And the Yellow Brick Road, all roads are paved for Rome, with gold, and all roads lead back to Rome. It's that thing over and over again. Whereas the mask changes, but the controller behind the mask is the same. It has to change. It has to evolve, or at least it has to give the appearance of that, so that people they think it's changing, right? But it's not really. It's just putting different clothes on.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I would say, Nathan, is, you know, if you look at the things we're taught now, and bear in mind that Europe's made up of dozens of countries, right? But all of Europe is still taught the same things. We're all taught to count in tens. You know, we're all taught to, you know, we're all taught the numerical alphabet. The alphabet as it is, A to Z, and they might be slightly differently spelt, or the words put in different orders in different countries, but we're all taught the same thing. It's always Roman. Yeah. And we can say that, we're no longer under Roman control. And I would say we're not no longer under Roman control. Yeah. We're under the Vatican's control. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the difference. It's not Roman. People talk about Rome. Yeah, Rome was the empire. But, you know, I think it's a lot deeper than that. And I think that the church, what was the big power of the church, and the Vatican controlled all of Spain and Italy, and, you know, and then Henry VIII comes along and says, well, actually, we're not going to play this game anymore. We're going to flip the table on you, and this is what we're going to do. But despite all the devastation he caused, all the monasteries he burnt down. Yeah, well, I mean, he made quite a mess with that one, didn't he? So what did he actually achieve? All he achieved was taking control of that side for himself, taking it away from Rome, you know, or the Vatican, and taking control of that himself, and making a lot of money on the way through. A lot of money, you know. Well, I suspect half of that was pilfered and pillaged from the monasteries in question, you know. 100%, 100%, yeah, 100%. So you look at all these things and you think to yourself, well, we're now in a time, in my opinion, where I would say we probably are at the end of the Roman Empire. Western civilization is deliberately being crushed. It's deliberately been finalised. Certainly feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, you know, and if you take... It looks that way, yeah. Out of Rome, what have we ended up with? You know, we've gone through all what we did, and then the 1800s, or 1700s, the British Empire, right? Yep. From Henry VIII, you know, we get Queen Elizabeth I. At that time, we were absolutely buzzing as a nation. We were absolutely taking control of the world. And over the next 100 years through Victoria, very, very, very strong leadership. Very strong leadership in our crown. What have we got now? What? But the best one, once a freaking nonce. Right? Well, I was going to say, I mean, where do we go with this one following the Epstein files? I would probably say the other one is as well, but it just hasn't been allowed to come out. That's my opinion, right? And there's lots of documents in them Epstein files that just a bit that puts Princess Di in the thick of what was going on at the same time as her husband. No, I've not come across. So are you saying that she was because I mean, there's so much about that just on its own that links into so many different facets. But I mean, look at the symbolism around the death. I mean, that's an orchestrated ritual, for want of a better word. But so I've not come across anything specific to Princess Diana in terms of exposing any kind of bad behaviour. Sarah Ferguson, on the other hand, I mean, who the hell was this guy Epstein to have such a massive circle of no, you're being misled. Right, go for it. He's not the top of that. Well, he's not the top, but he's a focal point. I mean, like, this is what I mean. So, like, why are they all linked to that? It's like he is a puppet master. right? Absolutely puppet master,
Right.
but wasn't writing the script. So yes, he
I
controlled all
agree
the
with that.
puppets underneath, right?
Yeah.
So why did they go after everyone that had power, wealth? You know, you asked yourself, why did they want people like Prince Andrew? Because it would bring down the royal family. Why did
I
they
was going to
want
say
people?
leverage, but I mean, but
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
I would apply that to a broader spectrum of people. But yeah, go on. I think yeah, this,
Well, you look through it, and go through some of the names on the Epstein files, and you will be horrified. I mean, if you are off track again slightly here, but I don't know
hey
if you're
mate, just
familiar.
take
I
it
don't
where
know
it needs to go. Yeah.
if you're familiar with the story, but in Canada, in I think it was the 60s or 70s, our Queen and Prince Philip took a load of children from a local orphanage for a picnic, right?
Right.
A
Okay.
load of children. I can't remember the details, right?
Right.
But it's very well documented. You'll find it online easy enough. And the children never, ever came back to the orphanage. They were gone, dealt with, whatever. This is
Right.
documented. That's why the Queen was not allowed to go back to Canada. The Queen wasn't allowed to visit Canada. That's why, because the police wanted her on a warrant for her arrest because the kids were never found. This is all documented.
Well, considering she's
I
supposed to have been the Queen of Canada as much as
there
it's
you
all,
go.
yeah.
And I'd also say that I don't think Princess Di is any more dead than I genuinely don't. I think she's no
Seriously.
more dead. Yeah, I absolutely don't think she's dead. No more than Michael Jackson is. No more than Epstein is. They're all alive. They're all either protected on one side or the other, on dark or light, one or the other. There's lots of documentation. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, right, the Epstein files proved that were released by the Americans that Trump had absolutely nothing against his name. Yes?
I disagree with that. I disagree with
Well,
that.
they didn't.
But
They
again,
didn't
just from
find.
what I've come
They
across, I think
they
Trump's as
they
implicated as anybody else. But anyway,
now,
yeah.
but they didn't find anything in there from the CIA. Iran last week, however, released
Mm.
lots of documents about Trump raping and abusing all these kids. Right now,
But then that could be down to war propaganda. I mean, again, I don't know
okay, so
Right. Okay.
let's just argument on that. But bear in
Yeah.
mind that I believe Israel
Hmm.
and a group of Zionists, especially, are deliberately trying to conquer the world. Right?
I mean, trying to conquer. I mean,
Well,
the only
okay, yeah,
thing I'd put
so
it up on there, I think they've already done it. To be fair, I mean, they've got
I'd
their
agree. Right?
yeah.
But let's take for 1 second that I'm right.
Mm.
And let's say you want to really cause carnage in the world. You remove from those files anything about Trump,
Mm.
right? So Trump thinks I'm all right here.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
give that information, as the Israelis, you now give Mossad, give that information to Iran and say, release this when the time's right. Right? Now you've
One way of
got
doing it. Yeah.
now you've got a reason for Trump really to fucking pile in.
Right.
Right? We might have been gone in
right.
there and said, all right, we've eradicated the nuclear weapons, let's come home. No.
Yeah.
Now he's got to eradicate every server unit, because I guarantee this. Putin made a statement where he said the reason that the Russians went into Ukraine was to stop child trafficking. He made a point of the reason they went in was to take down all the server houses what were out there
Yeah.
that the deep state kept all of their incriminating evidence on, right? Documented stuff, not factual. The thing I love about facts, Nathan, they're stubborn things. You can't unstubborn a fact, right?
Well,
So,
the thing that goes along with that, mate, is it doesn't matter whether you like the truth or you hate the truth, you agree with it. The truth is the truth, and if it's backed with facts and evidence, then what are you arguing against? So this is that's one of the things that I'll keep saying to people. It doesn't matter whether you agree with the truth; it is what it is.
absolutely.
You can only accept it or deny it, but if you deny it, you're only lying to yourself at that point. So anyway, carry on, mate.
So let's assume for a minute that they did do that. So Israel has always got a reason to continue with someone fighting wars, right? Eradication of everybody else, just leave the Jews, right? And especially hardcore Zionist Jews, right?
Well, I was going to say, can we distinguish, because I
think there is a vast difference. I would say there
massively.
is a vast difference in between Jews
Yeah.
and Zionist Jews. Vast
Absolutely.
difference.
Yeah. I wanted to make that distinction so that we don't get accused of being anti-Semitic, because we're not. I know that from speaking to you as well. You're not. That's not what we're espousing here. I just want to put that out there before we get the video into trouble. So
what I will say on that is, because I'm a great believer in the fact that there's good and bad in every race.
I would say it was a human condition that
there you go.
This
isn't about one side being good or bad. This isn't about that. There's a particular breed of Jews, and I believe that being Zionism, that are an issue, right, and have been an issue for a long time, right. And I would say that I was going to say sorry to interrupt again there, mate, but and again, because I often find myself like caveating things to say, well, hang on, just think about this for a minute. But you can't dispute. So again, rightly or wrongly, they've got a heavy influence in politics. They've got a heavy influence in media. I mean, really. I mean, look at Hollywood, for example. Look at the film industry in places like New York. Well, the whole news industry worldwide,
and the news industry, the banking industry. So. It's not really something that you can argue against, because when they're pulled up on it themselves, they will say, we control the industry. And so this isn't necessarily about picking on anybody. It's just stating what it is and saying, well, it's not really something that you can argue against, because it is what it is. So again, I want to just shove that in there.
I mean, you can look at this, Nathan. Diamonds were worthless. Diamonds were completely worthless as a stone. They were worth no more than a flint, right? Yes, they were pretty, and people traded them, but they were really worthless in comparison to what they're worth now. And then what happened? Hollywood came along, and Hollywood says, "Oh my God, I'm a young lady. I'm getting married. A princess has got to have a pretty little ring." And suddenly, diamonds, within a year, everyone wanted one. They suddenly became valuable, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to have it put into gold. It pushed the price to go. All of these things. We know they control all the mines. We know they control all the industries. It doesn't, and this has always been my frustration. And I say to people, look, just dig in. Don't take this from me and Nathan. Go do your own research at the end of the day. And that's where I've got my knowledge from. I've spent a lot of time. I don't have a television. I've never, I haven't had a television for fucking 20 years. So for me, I've had lots of time. Then rather than sitting down every night watching Dead Enders, Procrastination Street, and all the other bullshit,
I like that.
I've been busy researching and going down rabbit holes. And yes, I'm sure some of it that I've gone down wasn't right, and some of it was, was incorrect.
But even that, I would say it's been inserted deliberately to throw people off track and to throw them off the scent. But there you go.
I'd agree. But what I have noticed is that the more I dig, the more I can find out about what I believe is the truth, not the propaganda, what we're led to believe. I definitely don't agree with our historical timelines. They don't make no sense to me.
I've been looking. So you mentioned this the other day, and I agree. I do think that we go through resets and cycles. I think it's a little bit from way I look at it. I think it's broader than the ones that you're looking at, but equally within that, I think the smaller resets built within the greater resets.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I've been looking into this more. It's not that I'm dismissive of it. It's like my brain goes, there's information missing, or there's something that doesn't quite make sense, and so I'm on the fence with. Let's say 700 years of missing history, right? I'm on the fence with that. I'm not totally going for that. However, I do when we spoke at length the other day about the resets, things are always changing, and there is a mind behind the mechanism of change that is driving it forward to a certain direction. I mean, it's constant, but some of those changes, they do seem to occur at certain points in. A certain couple of so many hundred years where it's like, right, there's going to be a big flip here. There's going to be a big switch to something other, right? Like the Industrial Revolution to me was a big one. Like as an example, that was a massive, great reset. It took the rural, old world style of doing things, and then it mechanized it, industrialized it, and it was a massive impact in the world. And they're doing it again now. arguably again with technology.
With AI.
So, yeah, massively.
But then what I would say is, Nathan, like, if you look back at historical buildings, right? I cannot accept when you see some of the cathedrals around the world and how they are built, and some of them that they'll say they're 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
So we're led to believe that our knowledge does that. We start down here and our knowledge is going uphill. We've conquered the moon. We've got to Mars. We've done all these great things we've allegedly done. I say allegedly.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I'm not going to pull that a bit because I think we both. Yeah, it's obvious at this point.
Man is moving up the ecological ladder, right? But our knowledge is growing. We're getting stronger at what we do and what we understand, right?
Yeah.
Then how the hell did men with wooden scaffolding and flip-flops and no power tools build cathedrals? What we're told, that took 500 years to build. I don't believe that to start with, but I don't believe anyone worked on these projects for hundreds of years. And I also do not believe that someone sat there with a hammer and chisel and a little piece of sandpaper to make marble so smooth you could eat your dinner off of it. Everything looks like it was machine precisionally cut. And I can't understand how people don't question that.
This is something that I used to, when you're a kid and you're looking at things and how was that done? And people say, oh, well, they go to architecture school and they're Masons and, I'm not about Freemasons. I mean, I know they're linked, but
Masons,
but there are some, the older the buildings I find, especially going back into the ancient world. And, again, cathedrals is a good example. Castles is another example. I mean, there are some wonderful bits of architecture out there, which it does make you wonder that if our knowledge is exponentially increasing on a certain gradient, which I don't think, I think it's more like that, but from a certain perspective. But the architecture in the ancient medieval world was far superior to what we've got now in terms of aesthetic value, in terms of durability, stonework, things like that. There was a lot more. But again, I want to take you back to Peru temporarily because a lot of those stones that have been put together, they are so precise, they are so well cut, and apparently the only way to do that is through a diamond laser. How do we do that? Right.
Well, I saw a video yesterday. It was talking about the biggest stone that's ever been moved by a man in modern history, right? And it was I think it was about 200-ton rock, right? It was big old lump of stone, right? Is
this Baalbek? Is this going back to the?
Don't know, right? This was a modern one, and they designed this huge lorry to move it on, and they had
okay.
It had 500 tires, and it took them 2 years to plan its movement and everything else, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to the pyramids of Giza and places like that, and there was one tomb out there which I can't remember which king it was, but there's one statue which weighs 1,000 ton, 1,000 ton, and we're led to believe that man dragged it across on a sledge. Well, a sledge. How was you going to cut it and roll it onto the ruddy sledge? Don't talk stupid. So they must have had more knowledge then than we have now, because we can't work it out now. So that means if they did work it out, then, and we know they travelled like 100 or 200 miles with these statues when they were carved, right?
Yeah.
So how did they do it? Now, I'm a great believer in the fact that sound frequency is a big thing that you can move things with. But if you get the sound frequency right, you can make things so you can literally just move them about.
But doesn't cymatics prove that you can, different sound frequencies can create different sort of effects. It can create different geometrical,
what I'm saying is,
yeah.
You and I don't know about that. Well, you and I might know the basics of understanding that it's possible, but we don't understand how to do it. They knew how to do it, Nathan. They knew all of these things. They knew how to build things what we now can't make. So our level of knowledge, what we believe is going that way, I actually think it's going that way.
well, it will be now. I mean, if you've just mentioned it there, if you take AI and that starts to do people's thinking for them, it's absolutely, human knowledge is going to plummet. It's going to go off a cliff.
And ask yourself the question, why do we need AI? because for the last 50 years, we've taught kids in schools to be stupid. So now we need AI to be able to do the freaking basics.
Well, you contrast us to somewhere like China, and again, I'm not trying to stick up for China because I don't agree with the regime that they've got over there. But equally, whilst our lot in the West are using TikTok to do little dances and to for egotistical little flaunting routines, the Chinese are showing off their skill sets, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, but they're showing how they can count in ways that we've lost the ability to do. Their brains are like
and morally how they use it as well. If they film something positive and they show themselves doing good things, they get rewarded on the universal credits. And whilst I don't agree with it in principle, I can see why they're buying into it.
Yeah,
and this is the problem.
But equally, so that to me that's like the ultimate form of operant conditioning, right? So it's like if you're rewarded for good behavior and you're punished for bad behavior, and the Chinese government seems to have that after they've perfected it almost in terms of behavioral conditioning, mind control, things like that. They're absolutely efficient at doing what they're doing. If there was a benevolent regime behind that, and again, I've got to be careful what I say here. That wanted a moral society, that wanted an educated society, that wanted a purposeful, productive, a healthy, happy society, then that kind of regime, I can kind of see the benefits to it.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's being used for, is it really? I mean, to me, it's being used as a tool. It's training the population up to be an efficient. I'm going to call it a military force. I'll choose my words carefully there.
Yeah, you're bringing out of the population what you want as the state.
Yeah.
You're not bringing out of it what the people want.
Yep.
You're not benefiting them from the point of benefiting them. You're benefiting the state through them benefiting.
At the expense of the individual. Every time. Yeah. And again, take it back to your financial institutions, your media corporations, your news. I'm going to say producers because at this rate, I mean, how much of the news was created as opposed to actually happening. All of these things, you can link this into the state. Yes, you can pin it onto certain. How the hell do we phrase this without getting into trouble? But there is a certain element behind there, a certain control force that is manipulating events from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I would argue that it's the same control force that's been there for a very, very long time. Again, it's changed its names and had a few let's redecorate the walls, for example, but it's the same force, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you look at how the Roman Empire was built, how was the British Empire built? It's the same playbook.
Yeah.
Conquer, whatever you want to do, you just go get on with it and tell everyone else to go fuck themselves.
To bring it back into that again, what another old Roman phrase was divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
But it's divide and conquer. It's to set them against themselves. And whilst they're fighting and arguing, with the control system, the state, the religion, it'll come in and take charge. And it always does. Which, to me, the lesson to take away from that is let's stop fighting each other and let's come together then and unify as opposed to ripping ourselves apart.
Absolutely. It's the one thing that they can't deal with. And I think...
Yeah, absolutely,
For me, I think in this country especially, what people need to get their head around on all this black, white, Christian, Muslim bullshit is right. Everyone should be sitting down around a table and going, and this, I went away at the weekend. We were at the Mycelium Network again at the weekend.
I couldn't have made it this time, mate. I would have liked to have been there, but
and I'll tell you what, mate, it was mind-blowing this time.
Oh,
right, and there was
typical, right? Okay.
Two of the speakers who spoke there, and one of them was Chris, who set up the Shield. Did you see Chris last time? Big guy with a beard, and Chris Hargreaves got all the tattoos down his face. Ex-motorbike gang leader and all sorts of things. Anyway, one of the things...
I'm not sure with that one. But anyway, carry on, mate.
He was there on the Sunday afternoon last time, and he was there again, and he said... Everyone keeps saying, Chris, how do we fight this? How do we fight this? He said, the problem is nobody knows who they're fighting. Right? Okay. Christians, who are you fighting? We're fighting the Muslims. Muslims, who are you fighting? The Christians. Christians, who are you fighting? The Jews. Muslims, who are you fighting? The Jews. Hey, white person, who are you fighting? The black person. Black person, who are you fighting? I'm fighting. No. sit down around a table and actually ask yourself this question: who is the actual enemy?
Right.
And then we know there's not a lot of them, right?
Compare. I mean, the actual number of the ones pulling all the strings and all the mechanisms. Yeah, it's got to be relatively small, isn't it?
It's 0.01%. That's the reality of it. 1/1,000,000th of the population are pulling the strings. I think it is about 1/1,000,000th. I think it is. Well, what we need to do is eradicate those because they're the freaking problem. And then you could sit down around the table and you could say, listen, you guys, you have that, you have that piece of land, you have that piece of land, and we can all live happily ever after. Live together, live apart, do whatever you want. But now we know the enemy's out of the way, right? And that is the issue we have. How do you fight back against something? So everyone says, I want to fight back against tyranny. Okay. Who is tyranny? Who is it?
This is where I would say that so I talk a lot about morality and natural law, right? So again, I don't want to bring that into this podcast so much because I want to like diversify it a bit. But effectively, if we were united behind a moral code that we could all agree is objectively what is right objectively and what's wrong objectively, to me it's like it's the path of least harm, right? So if something's wrong, it's going to cause harm.
Yep.
So in other words, those are the things that we don't do. And if something's right, it's causing no harm, in which case it then becomes permissible population wide. And to me, that is a moral code that we can all stand behind. Is it causing harm? Yes or no? And then that should be what's directing your actions. But unfortunately, what the controllers do, the social engineers, the elites, whatever you want to control, the authorities, the ruling class, they are engineering things. They are controlling things. And one of their oldest practices is divide and conquer. Every time it's divide and conquer, and they've become efficient at it. But as a population, we keep falling for it every time, and I don't understand how this isn't common knowledge. I mean, they tell you. I mean, they're even telling you in the films. It's divide and conquer. Yes, it is, and they're telling you. Right, they're saying why, and I agree with you here. Why are Muslims fighting Jews, fighting Christians, fighting flat earthers, fighting bang 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 bang? Right, why? Because to me, that's the group of people at the bottom of the hill fighting against each other, while the people on the top of the hill keep pissing on us.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
instead of all that infighting, why aren't we all focused at the top of the hill and going, actually, they seem to be enjoying themselves up there at our expense. Is there any chance we can take the hill down? Or dethrone them? Because if we did come together as a populace, and I'm not on about, different races, different ideologies, different political classes.
Everybody.
I don't give a shit about any of that.
The whole population of the planet. Right. That's all it needs.
That. Yeah. Just
whole
that,
population of the planet. It just needs to look at the agenda and go, okay, is this what I genuinely believe is the right thing to be happening? Thank you. In the society I live in, and is this what I want my children to be brought up in?
Right.
Because I guarantee you, if most people could only see it for what it is, they would not want to be part of it.
Right.
The problem is the smoke and mirrors are so great, they can't see it. Nathan, they haven't got a clue what's going on. We know 90% of the population's fucking blind. They've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because they keep buying into the narratives. They keep, and again, David Icke talks about identity labels. Stop falling into label mentality, because as soon as you apply a label to yourself, then somebody else who's got an opposing label, you've got an automatic enemy there. And why we are the only reason they're an enemy is because they've adopted a label that's counter to yours. But without the labels, you're not enemies. You're just people getting on. I mean, I don't want to go out and make enemies and just I like debate. I like disagreeing with people. I like unifying with people. I like to be on the same page. But what I'm saying is, there's a multitude of things out there that can unite us. But we seem to always fall into the trap of, well, that person is the other to us, and so that makes them the bad guy. That makes them the enemy.
Yes,
it's the mentality of that, and I think as part of that, coming back to what I was mentioning earlier, and you've mentioned it as well. Where's the accountability these days? Where's the personal right? So to me, introspection is a large part of looking at yourself first and going, oh, how am I falling into these traps? How am I falling into my biases? Right? You've got to go within first. You've got to
Because
fix
you've been
this.
programmed to
Right?
at every solitary level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All media is propaganda, right? We
I
know that.
agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Even
Yeah.
down to the clothes we wear. We
Yeah.
know
With the
now that.
names all over them. Look,
Yeah.
mate, I refuse to wear branded stuff because I'm not going to promote somebody else's massive business and their slave labor factories and
And
pay top price for it. It's insane. I refuse.
what it's made of as well, Nathan. We all wear polyester these days, which is the
Yeah.
plastic, so we've got no connection with the earth.
Right.
Rubber-soled shoes. It's all
Yes.
about
Yeah. Yeah.
stop you having that connection with the earth and really feeling that you're part of something. That's when people were connected to the earth through growing food. Go outside, hug a fucking tree, whatever you need to do. Right. That was all part of feeling part of the planet.
Yeah.
Now they've got everyone feeling insulated, isolated.
Right.
I stay at home. I don't go out. I've got my plastic clothes on. I've got my rubber-soled shoes on, nylon carpet, not even wool anymore. Everything's synthetic, and now I'm all right because now I'm completely protected from the planet. Right?
So protected. You're not living anymore. You're just existing.
You're not living, just existing. You're not getting that energy boost when you go to bed every night and you go get up. Like you said, you woke up this morning, you're like, whoa, I'm fucking hyper at life because
doesn't happen that often, but
no, well, but that's because we're geared not to. Television's geared to keep you down. It's always about the negative, right? Press is always about the negative. And even when you try to put out a positive, it's a classic example. If I put out a post on social media what's negative, I get 200 likes. If I put out a post what's positive, I get 30 likes. Why is that? Because people like negative, because they're programmed to like negative.
Yeah. But it is. I mean, right? Okay. So again, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've had friends, often very close friends, who will complain about the state of the world. Right? They'll point. They'll know what's going on about the agenda, about how it's affecting it. They can see it happening right before their eyes. Right? But every week, over and over again, they'll go away a little bit refreshed, and then the next time you see them, it's like, oh, it's all doom, it's crap, it's everything's fault of it. It's like, well, what are you doing with your time? Well, I'm on my phone doing it. Right, okay, stop.
Yeah, stop.
Right, you're on your phone, doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
If you go looking for, but this is the thing. If you go looking for doom, you're going to find it. The world's full of it. So why not? If it's not going to do anything for your mental state, if it's not going to change your behaviors, stop doing it. Because where's the benefit of that?
You mentioned something earlier about before we came on air, talking about the strength of prayer.
Yes, yeah. This is right? I've triggered this off in my group as well.
Right, the strength of prayer. Now, do I believe in prayer and God answering questions? Don't know. Right. Okay. I've always been brought up in my head that I brought myself to believe the universe will provide. Right?
Yes.
So if I ask the universe for something, it provides. Now, Gloria will say, no, that's God. My cousin Mike says that, who's a pastor, will say they're the same thing, right? So okay. I believe, so whether it's asking the universe or praying to God, whichever it is, I definitely think 100% they work. Now, and the times in my life when I've really pushed the fact of trying to achieve an outcome, it's happened, right?
All right.
I used to work with a business coach called David Holland, and years ago when I ran a charity, and he got us to do an experiment, and I challenge anybody to do this, right?
Okay.
He got us to write down what we thought our life would look like in a year's time, right?
Right.
Now, for me, it was a particular, my partner and I at the time had just got together. So I had a clear idea of wanting to take that, clear idea about wanting children, clear idea of the house we wanted to live in, the car we wanted to drive, everything, right? Nailed down to the bottom, including how much I wanted to earn. And he said, put it in a letter to yourself, right? Wrote it. Dear Mark, just to let you know, remind you that a year ago, this is what we said, just to check in on yourself, see how you're doing with your boom. Right. Write it down. Sealed envelope. Put an address on it. Gave it to the coach. The Coach puts it in a filing cabinet when he gets home. In a year's time, he posted me the letter. Right? I opened the letter and I thought, bizarrely, you forgot about it by then a year later. And I got the envelope and I thought, that's a bit bizarre. That's my handwriting. And then I thought, oh, I know what that is. Right? And I opened it. Point 1. Did you end up with that person? Yes. Did you have the kids you wanted? Yes. Did you end up in the house you wanted? Yes. Did you end up with the income you wanted? Yes. Did you want the car you... Whoa, powerful. Everything I'd asked for was there.
Yeah.
Now, I would say you have to be careful what you ask for, right?
Well, we've seen examples of this going quite wrong in my personal life as well. It's like,
yeah, well, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some things in there I would go, Jesus, shit, you made some mistakes there. But it wasn't about it. It was about the proving the point of what was that me praying? Was that me asking the universe? I don't know. But what I do know is the more times in my life I have been particularly focused and structured on what I want, then it arrives without fail.
Can I? Right. 2 minutes, because I want to ask you a question. So I put something. I'll give it a little bit of context first. Right. I run a group with a friend of mine called Steve James, called Occult Academy. I don't know whether are you on there or not.
No.
Oh, you need to be on there, mate. You'd love it. I'll send you the link. If you're not, come on there, because your contributions will be fucking amazing. However, the last couple of days on there, we've been hammering away at a religious debate. So it's basically been well, in fact, Patrick, he's a Catholic, and he's put his points across. And I thought, well, I'm going to allow it because the occult does go into religion. I mean, a religion is hugely steeped in allegory and symbolism, and I'm happy with that, right? So I thought, no, as much as I disagree with Patrick, I consider that fair game. He can put his points across. He can because it gives me something to debate with him against. And that gets you cognitive process. To me, that's good. A debate's good because it gets you to think. It gets you to check your own knowledge and to question yourself. And it's been brilliant. Anyway, there's been a couple of people on there saying, right, can we get back to the occult and get away from the religious debate side of things? I thought, well, I'm kind of enjoying the religious part. But anyway, so I thought, okay. I'm going to read this out as I do it. So I put something on the group today, just to redirect it a little bit, which is why I brought the whole prayer thing up. I'll do my best reading aloud. I'm terrible at reading aloud. So I've put question to the group: is prayer another form of wishful thinking or from a desperate position, or is prayer a form of mental manifestation? Is it effective? Who are we really directing our thoughts, hopes, and dreams to? Which I mean, theoretically, what you've just said there, is it yourself? Is it yourself? Because it's interesting. Are we directing it to the universe? Are we directing it? Maybe we're misdirecting it a lot of the times. So the next question was: is it more effective to meditate than to pray? Is it effectively the same thing? What's the missing element? Yeah. But again, so all of this is going around my head because I'm open-minded and discerning. I'm not dismissive. A lot of the stuff that people think I'm dismissing, I'm not. I'm just I like to be critical. I like to challenge it. I like to take it away and consider it for a long time. Anyway, I'll skip that bit. Right. So, is there evidence for a strong psychological mystic, I've put in brackets, psychic, thought force or energy that can influence the world around us? And I've used mass prayer gatherings as an example, right? So the reason I've asked this question, I think a lot, which is probably part of my problem is I think too much, is that I've often attacked the whole idea of manifestation without action, right? So to me, happy thoughts and wishful thinking does not achieve results.
No.
However, that being said, again, I'm not being dismissive of manifestation. I just think that people there's a missing element of action there. But in certain circumstances, I have seen, as you've just described there seems to be this psychic, and by that I mean psychological as well as mystical, spiritual, but largely psychological. If all things begin in mind, right? So if you've got a vision in your mind, a very clear vision, and that's what you're working towards, right? Then theoretically that manifestation becomes more attainable. It becomes more likely to be the outcome.
Yes. Yeah.
And what you've just described to me there, using that whole letter to yourself, it's almost like confirmation that you can manifest things into reality, as long as you've got focus and vision to go with it.
Well, I think it goes deeper than that, and the reason I bring this up is because manifestation, I believe, is a very, very real thing. However, I don't think it goes further enough, right?
Oh, go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the reason I say is because if I say to you, you haven't got a car, right, Nathan? What car would you like, Nathan?
Are you asking me to answer that like real terms?
No, just go on. Just if I said
it's
to you,
going to sound
Nathan,
ridiculous, but I love McLarens, and so Holly and I joke about this. She's like, "Yeah, in a couple of years' time, you're gonna have that McLaren." I'm like, "Yeah, right, okay." So I'm going to go with a McLaren, which is massively ambitious, but okay, all right,
right. But is it? And now it's how you deal with this, right? So years ago, I wanted a red Mercedes, and I thought to myself, now bear in mind, I'd never had a Mercedes, I'd never had a really nice car like this, and I thought to myself, and again working with David Holland, and I remember him saying, you need to take it to the next level. So what does that look like? Okay, let's go to the showroom and let's ask, can we take a red? Can I borrow that car over there? Can you get it in red? If I wanted to buy it in the future, could you get one of those in red? Yes, sir. Okay. Could I test drive that car? Absolutely, sir. There's the keys. Now I go out and I can physically and mentally see myself in that car. I can get a photograph on the phone of me next to that car. I'm now not only putting it out there to myself, I can put that on social media and put it out to other people to get them buying into the fact that I'm going to have a red Mercedes car.
Yeah,
right.
Because you're getting the public consciousness to accept that as a reality.
It's a reality.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
So I think the problem that most people have is to go, if I say, Nathan, I haven't got a car, any car. Okay, what colour do you want it to be? Okay, so this McLaren, let's go into this a bit deeper. So, what colour is this McLaren going to be?
Well, let's go for blue on this occasion. I'll go for a blue McLaren.
Okay, so blue McLaren.
Yeah.
So you've got to this McLaren. You're stood outside. They've given you the key to get into it, right? When you open the door, what kind of interior has it got?
I'm going to say really refined white leather or cream leather. There you go.
Nicely. Cream leather. Okay. Yeah. So you get in, you shut the door. What's the first thing you can smell?
That leather. The
You're going to smell that hide. That you've got that right. Okay.
Yeah.
You put the key in. It's probably not got a key what goes physically in, but it's probably got just a push button. But
well, the key's just inside probably.
The car. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But you get in and you start the engine. What does that feel like under your backside when you rev that throttle? What does it feel like?
I'm going to say powerful but smooth.
Right. Okay. So you're now sitting there in your mind. You're now sitting in that car. You can feel the vibration. You can buy into it because it's not just a car anymore. It's not just, you said, I want a McLaren. Yeah. You're now starting to think about the fact of it's blue. It's got leather cream interior. I can smell that interior. I can smell it. You're now putting it into visually in your mind.
Right.
Not only visually, mentally, you're putting it into your mind that I've smelt it. If I went to a McLaren showroom now and opened that door, I know what it's going to smell like. I absolutely fucking know, hand on heart, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to go, oh my God, that's my dream. Yeah. My dream is to have that shit. That's the one. And that's how you take it to the next level. Right.
Right.
Because if I say to you, most people, if you said to them, what kind of car do you want? They'd go, I just want a car. I just want to be able to get from A to B. No, you don't. What do you want? What if you really had to focus in on it, what would it be? This McLaren, is it a 4 litre or a 4.8? I
mean, it's going to be heavy in it for that kind of speed horse. But I get we'll go for 4. Let's go for a 4.
Because I don't know what they come in, right? I'm going to.
Well, neither do I. But essentially,
do you see how you write this down? So you break this down to the lowest common denominator on everything. Then go find out where that vehicle is. How do I get to see one of these? How could Nathan, how do I get to go and test drive one of these things? How do I put it into my mental psyche that I can then start thinking, I need to earn proper money? Because you, like me, I know, right? You're not driven by money.
Unfortunately not, which hence I'm not exactly flowing with funds at the minute. So
by your own admission, you would sit there and go, oh, I love the sound of this McLaren, but it's never going to happen to me because I haven't got any money. Right? Okay. So now get the McLaren set in your head and then start saying, Okay, so Nathan, how much does a McLaren cost? I don't know, but
I think
I've
about
got no idea.
$250,000 or something ridiculous
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
about 250,000 quid, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. So, do you think the chances of you having that £250,000, Nathan, are likely? Before you answer that question, right?
Go on.
Before you answer that question, the answer is yes. Because if you say no, you're already doubting the fact it's going to happen.
Right.
So for you, Nathan, you only need £250,000 to buy this car, right?
Okay.
This McLaren, the blue one with the cream leather interior, the smell of that hide, the roar of that engine under your backside, the only thing that's stopping you, Nathan, owning that is £250,000, which is nothing. Now, Nathan, if we then sat down and said, right, so you bought into that, you're there, and you're going to say to Holly, hey, listen, Holly, I've got a blue McLaren coming.
She'd love that.
Right? And then you go, okay, what do I need to do to prove to myself that I can earn 500,000? Because I don't want to just be able to buy the car outright.
I want the cottage that goes with it.
I want the cottage. I want to be able to sit this somewhere. So maybe I need to earn £1 million, you know? So maybe I need to earn £1 million. How do I earn £1 million? Okay, so let's break down.
Yeah.
Right. What do I know? Gloria's ripping me about this at the minute, right? Because she's come up with this thing where she's helping people monetize what they know.
Okay.
Right.
I think she needs to join us on the podcast at this rate then.
Now there's another thing. I think she does.
She's more than welcome.
I think from her side, she's come across something really simple. So simple. You know the expression, keep it simple, keep it stupid. Yeah?
Keep it stupid,
keep it simple.
It's KISS, isn't it? It's keep it simple, stupid.
It's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, yeah?
Yeah.
She's taken something so basic. What does everybody have? Everyone has knowledge about something.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that. Everyone's got a skill set. I would take it further and say, yeah.
Throughout my life, I've been a farmer, greengrocer, run a charity.
Yeah.
I've run businesses. I've run a printing company. You flipping name it, I've done it, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a wealth of knowledge, but don't earn any money from it. People might message me and say, Mark, do you know the answer to this? And I always give my information freely. Right?
Yeah.
And Gloria's like, you need to monetize this. And I'm saying, yeah, but that doesn't really fit in with me. Like you, I'm not about the money. Right. But then
self-defeating, isn't it? In a way, it's self-defeating.
There you go. So now you go, but actually I smelt that interior.
Yeah.
I actually want this. God, imagine the partner I could be if I could give Holly the house she wants and the car on the drive like a McLaren. Yeah. Then you start thinking about, and Holly's got little, and so,
But need another car for the little ones because it's only two-seater, isn't it, a McLaren?
Well,
so it's
but you could afford a five or six seater to put on the drive, because you're going to have plenty of money. Then you start going, right, my little girl, I don't give her the things what I'd like to be able to give her as a dad. I do what I can, and I always tick all the boxes, and I'm there for her. But if I can only do this for her, okay, what is that? So let's get down to this. What does Nathan know business, right? And then you go,
all right,
yeah. So whatever it is that Nathan's done in his back past to get him to where he is today is all knowledge. What's there as wealth, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Gloria's sitting here laughing at me.
I can see.
Gloria's sitting here
in my
laughing
mind.
at
It's
me
building. It's like, but I can do that, and I do know that, and I can use that to. So carry on. I'm enjoying this. Actually.
How do you leverage each position of the building this dream? So for me, I'm no good at building the income side. That's the bit Gloria's now. She's mastered it within a few weeks. She's grasped how to put it together for people to earn that money. For me, I'm on the other end of this. I'm like you. I'm a visionary. I can't understand how to earn £1 million, but what I can understand is all the things it would achieve for me in my head if I could get to that level of wealth. Well, it's how you unite and join those two things. And I think meditation is a great way to clear the mind, to get rid of all the shit. And if that's praying, right, I'm praying for all of the things I want whilst I'm meditating, right? Meditation's supposed to be about clearing the mind.
I was going to say it's clarity, isn't it? It's focus and clarity and dispelling your anxieties.
Absolutely. And right? Makes your mind focus on things. Now let's take that to the next level and you go, okay, I'm going to focus on wanting £1 million. So I've either got to focus on the fact that I want one person to give me £1 million, or a million people to give me £1? How do
Okay.
You want to keep laughing over there? I'll come over and kick you.
Oh, she didn't get to laugh. I tell you, right. So in my mind, we're already going to do a part 2 of this one. We're going to have a little break, and we're going to bring Gloria in. So she doesn't know that yet. But
she'll have to make the decision for herself. But
fair enough. Okay.
So do you see where I'm coming from? So
yeah,
you build up in your mind, then your mind starts to accept that is the narrative.
Yeah.
If you spend all day going, scrolling through videos, going, this is shit, this is bad.
Right.
I scroll through a lot of videos, but I like to take knowledge from it. I can't read very well. So for me, I watch videos and I can get knowledge from videos, what I can't get from reading a book, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I watch a lot of farming ones, a lot of gardening ones, a lot of historical one. I love history.
Mate,
so for me,
I was going to say half the stuff behind me is history, so I'm with you on the history stuff. It's absolutely, I do love it as a subject. It's
okay. Now I focus on all that stuff, right? As do you, right?
Yeah.
Different stuff to me. But when did you last sit down? When did you, Nathan, last sit down and focus on what you want to be able to do for Holly in this new relationship?
Well, can I detour at this point?
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to say about a month ago, and I told you what happened. So right, can I come back to this? But I'm going to tell a little anecdote here, right? So about a month ago, Holly and I were sat in the car. Well, actually, before even that point, right? So she dropped the kids off at school. She came back, and I'm sat there on my computer. She said, "Right, how do you feel about going for a working brunch?" I was like, "Okay," and she said, "Right, we're going to grab your pad." Grab a pen. We're going to sit there and do exactly what you're telling me about here, right? About what we want, how we're going to do that, how we're going to structure it, how we're going to manage, all of the details within that, and then we're going to have other plans that go coinciding with that, just in case. You always have a contingency, basically, right? So this was the whole idea, right? Now, got to this cafe. And we got ourselves. I know you know where this is going. But
you've got to tell it because it's funny.
Mate, this is crazy. I told this in the church as well, and mate, that even the pastor was not a pastor. It's like the preacher was just like, it's the most crazy thing I've ever heard. Anyway, so what would you want? A coffee? Do you want like a bagel or eggs or whatever? Anyway, so I went up. Ordered the breakfast. Oh, I missed the bloody... right. I've ordered the breakfast and we're going back to the table. Right, I'm going to take you back to the car now. So I want people to visualize Holly and I sat opposite each other in a cafe, on a table, with a breakfast, with a pad in front of us. Right, just now. I'm going to take you back about 10 minutes. Now, in the car, I looked over at Holly's phone. At this point, she'd smashed it to bits. And I just went, oh, God, what have you done to your phone? And she went... I don't know. She said, I've got no idea what's happened to the phone. I was like, well, you must know. You smashed it. She said, look, it wasn't the kids because they weren't there. She said, it wasn't me and she said, I came back and it was smashed up. And I said, well, you can't blame me. I said, I was in bed. So her phone smashed up. I said, it can't take you anywhere. So, God, this is going to sound ridiculous. I've got the evidence with me. All right, it's right here.
Yeah.
And I said, so just wrote on this pad. I'm going to read out. I said, just. In the car, help, I'm being held captive, right? And I, just as a joke, put it out the window, help, I'm being held captive. Smiles on our faces, we're giggling it off. Anyway, so now go back to the cafe. We're sat opposite each other. I've ordered the food. We've got some nice breakfast there. It's taken a while to come out. It's like, it's never taken this long to come out before. Anyway, we've got some coffee there, and anyway, and she says to me, "Oh, I've modified your note." And I went, "All right, what have you put?" She said, "I've modified being held captive to help. I'm being held captivated by a beautiful woman." Right. And I thought, yeah, okay, fair enough. And we had a giggle of it. Anyway, put the pad down and we're talking about manifestation, right? Which you can't make this up. We were literally talking about manifestation, making the plans just exactly as this conversation is now, which is weird. Anyway. Then this is crazy. 3 police officers walked in, and we looked at each other as if to say, "Oh God, the war of the dogs done. The dogs have got out of the car, right?" So, God, no. Oh, they're coming towards us, and then we're just looking at each other as if to say, "Oh shit, we're in trouble, right? Clearly, we're in trouble. Yeah. We don't know what we've done. Can we have a word, please?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's it about?" So, well, can we have your name? I went, "Well, yeah, but what's it about?" So anyway, I gave him my name. And then they kind of see your driving license. I said, "You'll have a job. I don't drive." I mean, I can drive, courtesy of. I won't go into that. But I can drive. I know I can't say that. Um, but either way, it's. I said, well, I don't have a license, so they're like, right, can we just can we take Holly outside? I'm thinking at this right. Oh, this is bad. This, she's looking at me. She's like, yeah, okay. So they take her off outside. And they're like, right, so I gave them a couple of details. I said, right, basically, somebody's seen a note being passed forward that you've been suspected of abducting Holly over there, and went,
and then taking her out for lunch.
and then taking her out for a lovely breakfast and a coffee, as you do, even though I can't drive. And so clearly my abduction skills are brilliant. I've got some kind. So I just went, right, sit down. I said, you might as well join me for breakfast. They said, oh, how was breakfast? I said it was all right until you lot turned up. It gets more bizarre. So anyway, they sat there asking questions, right? And anyway, so then 3 more cops come in after they'd been talking to Holly outside. The 3 that were with me, 2 of them left and went outside. And they said, right, can we ask you some questions just to make sure that your information stacks up? They said, because we can't make head and tail of this. I said, well, yeah, because it's a practical joke. They said, yeah, that's what she's saying. I said, who saw the note in the 2 seconds that the pad was flipped over?
Yeah.
God, this was mental. Anyway, I'm going to skip to the end. So the irony of it was, I mean, our story checked out. Clearly, there was no threat there. They followed. They tried to make out as if I was an abuser and all of that. She's like, what are you talking about?
Sure.
He's the nicest guy you can ever meet. He's the most honest guy you can ever meet. Look, this is coming from Holly. She came back in. She's just like, what was that about? And I was just like, it's crazy. She said, ironically, talking about like manifestation, she said in the car, and then going back to the car, she said one of the things that was, be careful, you're probably going to manifest that into reality. You're going to get the cops called, and it was just all of this. It was crazy. I relayed this as a testimonial in the church that we go to, and they were like, I mean, they found it hilarious, but they were like, "That's the craziest thing we've ever heard." So I said, "Well, clearly, as a kidnapper, I like to treat my abductee to a lovely breakfast and coffee whilst holding her hand and gazing into her eyes, discussing our future together." I mean, clearly, what you can't make it up.
It goes to show you can look at it on the negative side of the positive side. So. I think you do have to be careful what you ask for.
It is that. Be careful what you wish for. I mean, but it was mental the way all that unfolded. It's just.
But I definitely would say, to anybody watching on this, if you have a vision of what you want, it's got to be more. I know lots of people would put, pictures up around the house saying, happy house, happy, life, and all of these, pictures and images and all these things what you can visualize and manifest in that are basic things. But how do you take that to the next level? And I've got a friend who was that good at it, and I mean that good at it.
Yeah.
He could enter a raffle and win every time. I remember he wanted a motorbike, which was part of a competition.
Yeah.
And so he rang the company what were doing the raffle and said, could I come and sit on this Ducati? And they said, yeah, sure. He said, because when I win it, I want to know it's going to, be at the right height for me and everything. And the guy said, oh, yeah, right. You've got to win it first. And he said, no, I've already won it. And the guy said, well, it hasn't been drawn yet. He said, no, I understand that. But I know I'm going to have won this. So I need to come and make sure. So he went and he said to the guy, he said, right, could I have it in this colour? Could I have it in this? And the guy was like writing it all down and just thinking he's some sort of mad nutter.
Right, okay.
Competition goes down. He gets second prize.
Right. Okay. Right? Yeah.
But the guy who wins decides he wants to take the cash what's available on second prize rather than the first prize of the Ducati motorbike. Right?
Wow. So, okay.
They put him in touch with each other, and he says, "Yeah." He says, would you do a deal?" And he says, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "Well, I wanted the bike. I didn't want the cash. I got enough cash, but I needed the bike." So he goes, and the guy says, "You're the guy who came out to look at the bike." He says, "Yeah." He said, and he said, "You wanted it in this color, this seat, these tires, everything." He said, "Yeah." And he said, "You've got to visualize it down to the last nut and bolt. Do you want chrome head screws? Do you want, cast screws? Do you want, whatever it might be? It's visualize it right down to the nails. He said, and then you'll get what you want. Now, whether that's your brain accepting you've already won it, or that's you telling the universe that you are the person who's got to win it, I don't know. But it definitely 100% works.
Right. So I've just turned that off to make it the light in here better, but I think it's made it worse. Right. Okay. Let's take this then, because this is something that in my book I was massively critical of. Right. So I've called the chapter "Love, Light, and Full of Shade," and I've torn to bits this kind of idea that you can wishful think anything. I tried it at one point. It didn't work. I tried it again. It didn't work. I tried it again. It didn't work. However, so I wasn't dismissing manifestation. I was dismissing let's say the shortcut version of it, which is I feel a thing, therefore that thing is real, right? So that's where I was having a go at. So I ended the chapter in coining a new law, which is the way that I see things working every time, which was, I called it the law of square, which is situation, circumstance, will, intent, and action, right? So something along that lines, which is so I'm not dismissing the power of manifestation, because again, I'm hermeticist, right? So all begins in mind, right? Everything begins with a thought. Everything begins with mind. Mind is the ultimate power in the universe, right? All is mind. And so from that perspective, I absolutely accept that everything that comes forward from that starts with the mind, starts with a thought, and then it builds something, and then that leads to other thoughts, which builds other things, and it progresses cause and effect, consequence, and right, action, reaction. So from that perspective, I accept that. However, what I've not managed to do is the version that you're telling me there. And again, I've seen this with my own eyes. I know that this happens. So where am I going wrong, or say, for instance, like anybody doing this manifestation, looking at it from the perspective that we've just discussed that there, where is that mindset going wrong? What are we missing? What's the key element? Because I'm not dismissive of it completely. So
okay, let me ask a question then.
Yeah.
So back to my question about as you and Holly, new relationship, wanting to settle down together and move things forward, and I don't say it from a disrespectful point of view of what have you done to thinking about what Holly wants. Have you actually, let's say you was to sit down with Holly and say, okay, Holly, let's have a sensible conversation here. If we were to get together, as in together, not in a relationship, together, in one house, what would that need to look like? Okay, well, she's obviously got the kids to think about. You've got your little girl to think about. So there's other contributing factors, right?
Yeah.
If you were to sit down and say, okay, so we need a house. Okay, Holly, I need you to tell me what this house looks like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So how many bedrooms do we need? Well, we probably need 4 bedrooms. We definitely know we've got to have a drive because the McLaren's got to go on the drive, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
you're laughing about it.
I'm going with this, mate, because I'm sick of all the negative thoughts. I'm going to stick with the positives here. So let's go for this.
So you then get her to say, okay, we've got this lovely house. What furniture's going in it? Well, I haven't really got anything I want to bring to the table. Nothing I'm so conscious or worried about, nor she. Right, so if we had to go to, I don't know where there is, but DFS, wherever it might be, we're going to go to DFS and we want to pick out the sofa that we want. I want to go and sit on that sofa. I want to feel that fabric. I want to touch the options. I want to sit my bum on it. I go, I like this cushion. I like this one. Yeah. I can see that fitting exactly in the corner of that house, right?
Yeah.
What pictures are going to go on the wall? What colours are the walls going to be? What carpet are we going to have? Go out and build that book of what, if you have to put a scrapbook together, put a scrapbook together.
Yeah.
But make that, embed it in your brain so it's there. Right? And then say, get Holly to do the same for you. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, she'll go for this because she's into the manifestation thing anyway.
So. Right, Nathan, if we were to be living together, what would that need to look like for you? So, Nathan, what are you going to do for a living? Well, I've got all this knowledge, and let's say, you sat down with someone like Gloria and said, and she could show you how to earn money from what you know, whatever that might be, whatever. And you then start earning money from it. Okay, so what do we need to do to escalate that up to earning enough money? What does that need to look like? How many hours do we need to put in? What do we need to do? You know, and you might say, well, I want to be there every day to come to the school gate with you. So,
Yeah.
I can't, I can work in the morning, but I can't work 9 till 10 because we need to do the school gate.
Yeah.
And I can't, 3 till 4, we need to go to the school gate. So we can't do it then. So whatever I'm going to do needs to fit into that.
Yes.
And you start to build the picture really, really deep embedded in your brain of what that needs to look like.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Again, I'm happy to do that, hence the pad. But
and then start rolling that forward, right?
Okay.
Write yourself a letter and put it in the post to somebody else, right? And say, please, with your name and address on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, now, I'll go one step further, and here's the bizarre thing, right? I never, ever used to use my own address when I used to write these things. I always used to use my parents' address as my point of stability.
Okay. Right? So something that's reliable, something that's steadfast kind of thing. Right, okay.
Absolutely, because I knew in my head, so I'm just tangled up in a wire here. I knew in my head that the house we were living in wasn't the house I wanted to live in, so I couldn't be living there in a year's time if I was going to be moving, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was no good getting the letter sent to there. What I needed to do was get the letter sent somewhere of stability.
Yeah.
And I knew my mum, the minute she received it, what's she going to do? She's going to ring me and say, darling, there's a letter for you. And my mum, I'll never forget this. The day the letter turned up, my mum rang me. She said, the most bizarre things happened, darling. I said, what's that? She said, you've sent yourself a letter. I said, what? She said, well, it's your handwriting. She said, I know, because your handwriting looks like mine. And no, it isn't my handwriting. She said, I didn't write that in that envelope. She said, and it's got a French stamp on it. I said, I don't know what the hell it is, Mum. I'd forgot about it, you know. And then I go over and I open it and I was like, I know what this is. It's a letter to myself. And of course, then when I opened it, and every solitary thing I documented down was in there. But when I wrote that letter down, right, at the time, I remember thinking to myself, I took a picture of it on my phone, came away, and then started putting all of those things into place. So the car I wanted on the drive, I went away and test drove that car. I made sure I got the Mercedes book and I went through and I picked the colour I wanted. I want that suit. I went and tried that suit on. I was like, I'm going to look fucking flash in that suit. I can tell you, when I get that car parked on that drive in front of that house wearing that suit, I'm going to know that I've made it, right?
Okay.
And that's how I broke it down. And everything I put down in my scrapbook and everything I put down in my letter, everything came true. Now, don't get me wrong. There was things what didn't work out correct in my process.
All right.
Because the person I chose, I didn't put anything in there about that person.
So then that makes it not flexible. Right. Okay.
So I put, because when I wrote the letter, I was single. I wasn't even with the person but everything I described about this person was correct, apart from one thing. I didn't give thought to the fact of how sane I wanted this person to be. I would say it is, you have to be careful what you ask for. And it's all good and well saying, oh, the person I want is going to fit into, they're going to be absolutely beautiful. They're going to do this. Going to give me the kids.
I'm going to give you another anecdote to this. So am I all right? Do you want to finish what you're saying there, or do you want me to come back to it? I don't mind either.
No, I do need a wee.
Well, I'll tell you what then. I'm going to try and do something here. I'm going to try and put the video on pause instead of stopping it so that we can try it again. How about that? So, right. Wishful thinking. We'll come back to an anecdote because I'm going to give you an example of this from Holly's perspective as well, which according to Holly, was very successful, minus one detail, which is ironic. Right. I'll see you in 2 minutes, and for the viewers, I'll see you in about 10 seconds. So... Right, so we've been gone for about 10 weeks since we said we were going to pause the video, and we just happen to be wearing the same clothes. Right, I think we're both a bit refreshed after that one.
I think it's like one of those Scooby-Doo scenes, isn't it? Diddle-doo, diddle-doo, diddle-doo.
We're not doing the psychedelics just yet, are we? We're not to that stage, but right.
Not yet.
I'm going to give you. So people are going to look at me and go bugger off. Right, this is right. It's right. So Holly had a bit of an awful year, not last year, the year before, and I won't go into details, but she said she keeps saying to me that she was like, right, universe, this is what I want. I want a man, and I want him to be that, and that. Right? So I want him to be intelligent. I want him to be, good looking. I've got a thing for Vikings. I've got a thing for like the whole Jesus look. I want him to be eloquent and all of that. Bang, bang, bang. Right? So now, according to Holly, and I know the audience is going to look at me and go, yeah, whatever. I know, I'm very well aware. However, Holly's got strange tastes, clearly. She said she
And you
put
fit the
this
bill.
list out to the universe, right? The whole
Yep.
thing. She said there was no way on earth that she ever thought that the universe was going to go, yeah, okay, we'll give you that then, right? She said it's never going to happen. She said the next day you messaged me on Telegram. She said you messaged me. She said, like funny. She stipulated funny as well as one of these criteria. And she said it was the most hilarious message that I've ever received as an opening message, right? I mean, it was just I won't go into the message, but
Yeah, yeah.
it was funny because she was like, as long as you're not 77th or a shill or anything like that. I went, well, funny you should say that. I'm all of the above, but you can totally trust me. I'm not. But that was it was
Yeah.
the comment anyway.
Yeah.
So again, this is like Holly's manifestation. Maybe she's blind in one eye or something. I don't get it, but but anyway, she even now she says, "Look, you are everything that I want on that list." She said, and the fact that you like the next day that she said, "I never ever thought that I would get half the things checked off that list. Never mind, like she said, but you are the full list." She said, however, two things I never stipulated. One is I never stipulated that where you were based. She said if I know if I'd have known you were going to be 200 miles away, she said I'd have fixed that straight away. I said yeah, but then it wouldn't have been me. She said it would have been you. It would have just something would have happened to have changed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said and the other thing is you don't drive. She said for obviously to come and see her as often as I do, I've got to be able to drive. It's not a case of she wouldn't want me without a car. She just said, but it would really have helped had I driven, right?
Sure.
So well, you're on about be careful what you wish for. Now again, this is Holly's account, and so I've got to take that. But she keeps saying over and over again, it was a very very specific list, and you got delivered the following day, right? She said it was bizarre. I put the request out there, you turn up, and she said it's exactly as I wanted, minus the two things that I didn't stipulate. And
Yep.
so this is where you're saying go into the details of things. It's not just about visualizing it; it's about you've got to kind of feel it and you got to live it. Now, I'm not going into details here, but I did this a couple of years ago, and to say that it went wrong was an understatement, right? It was a colossal catastrophe, right? I'm not going into details, but it was just like it was one of those moments you look back and you go, "What were you thinking? What on earth?" And it was because I'd convinced myself through this manifestation thing that we're discussing here. I'd convinced myself that I
It
was,
must be what you wanted.
and I'm going to do it, and it's going to work, right? And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't, and it failed catastrophically, right? It was terrible, and so that then led into other things. I'm just like, right, I'm going to annihilate this. I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be one of the chapters. I'm going to pull it to bits. But equally, when I was writing the chapter, I'm thinking, well, there must be some truth in it because all things begin with a thought. All is mind. The universe is mental, right? It's all of that. I don't mean like mentally ill, although sometimes you got to
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah.
And so through writing this, like the chapter debunking manifestation, I coincidentally wrote how it is real, but there's other aspects to it, which is what you're saying here, effectively. So, anecdote out of the way. So we've got the details. We've got to feel it, breathe it, visualize it, and then and again, I know what I'm saying here. I sound like a bloody hypocrite, but you got to visualize that as it's already a thing in reality, right?
Yeah.
So right,
It's already there.
so
It's already successful. You're already living that life.
right, so where do we direct? So how do we take that now? We can feel it, see it, visualize it, hear it, all of the rest of it. How do we take that now and make it a reality this time next year? And again, I'm doing what I'm going to do again. I can see who I want to be with, where I want to be, what I want to be driving, where I want to be based, and how I'm going to make that money. Right. So I've got all that visualized.
Yeah.
Holly's going to be very happy. Well, so would I actually. The cottage, the McLaren, Holly, brilliant.
Yeah.
We've even put things into place to start building businesses, like we've got an event coming up, my massive seminar. I'm not going to advertise it just yet because was still constructing that, but
Yep.
it's got every potential of being successful. I'm working on several other books. I've got a website put together now, which means that I've got a platform to build upon, right? And then I've got groups that are successful on Telegram, right? And they're really coming together, all of that. So there's a foundation there, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So how do I take that foundation now with that visualization? I'll do the letter. I'll get Holly to do it as well, just to. How do I take that and make it a reality this time next year? What's missing?
Well, first thing is you've got to write it down. So you want to write that letter to yourself.
Okay.
Right. And
yeah,
I mean
I'll do that.
with a pen. Don't type it. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, and write that letter to yourself, outlining all of those things you want to see yourself get by next year. Right. Put it in an envelope and put that envelope. I would say post that to someone like me, right? Someone.
Okay, I can do that.
Someone what's got nothing to do with your day-to-day life.
Okay.
Yes, we're mates. We get on.
I get that. That's absolutely fine. Yeah,
you know,
I can do that.
I'm not going to know what's in it, so I can't influence it because it's a sealed envelope, and you're going to forget about it, right?
All right.
But at the same time, you are going to start looking at, because now you've written that letter to yourself, you now hold yourself accountable when you don't deliver. So subconsciously, you're going to be going, well, I've got to do this because I've written that letter. And you'll forget about the letter along the way, but your subconscious will remember that they're the things you've put down you want for you, Holly, and the kids.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So you then start living that dream. So I would say that you, as a person, sit down with Holly and create this abundance of knowledge of what you're looking for.
Just perhaps not in a cafe, right?
Not in a cafe.
With a notepad.
Definitely not. And if you do, don't take a notepad. Right. But you start to put this vision together of what the house will look like, what the cars will look like, and then start putting that together. Go out and visit some of these places when you're next down there with her and go, look, go to the nearest McLaren showroom if that's, and ask them, say, can I ask the question of what colour blues you offer, please? And get the magazine and go, oh, Jesus, I really like that. Have you got a picture of a McLaren in that colour? Right? Get that on your vision board. Create yourself that vision board of all the things you want to see. Picture of you, Holly, and 3 kids in the middle. And that's the kind of house we're looking for. A nice little, nice little cottage with roses around the window, whatever that might look like. Here's the furniture we'd like in it. Start building that vision board.
Yeah.
So every day, and I would actually say build 2 of them, right? Identical.
One each.
One each. Because you live in 2 separate houses at the moment.
Yeah.
I would say bring
Which
that
is
vision.
Awkward, but yeah.
But I would say bring that vision together by saying to Holly, right, this is what I want to be able to do. And this is why we're doing it. And get Holly to write that letter as well. What's Holly looking for life to look like in a year's time? So you both agree, you've both written it down, you've both got a clear, defined image in your head. Go sit in that car, smell that leather, work out, right, when we're in our house on the first night, what are we going to eat? What bottle of wine are we going to drink? What's it going to be? Go do the research on those things. Put that psyche into your head. There's a great book, right, by a guy called John Kalench, right? American author, and it's called Fly Like an Eagle.
Okay, very American.
Right, I haven't read that book for years, but the reason I say is because he goes through this process, and the guy says to him, as you progress through life, you ascertain things in life and you want to put more value to things, you're going to want to get a bigger house and a better house. And every time he was on the bus going to work, he always saw this house on the hill.
Yeah, I can picture the one that we wanted, actually. I mean, at the minute it's off the market, but potentially it could. So right, I can see it. Yeah.
And every time he used to go, and once a month he'd go and say to the guy, as he was progressing up the ladder at work and he was starting to earn more money, starting to get a better understanding of life, and he said to the guy, how much is the house? And the guy said, the house isn't for sale. And he says, no problem. So 3 months later, he's going past on the way to work. And by this point, he's got himself a car. And he says to the guy, calls in, he says to the guy, is the house for sale yet? And the guy says, no, the house isn't for sale yet. He said, so he gets talking to this guy, and the guy says, what do you do for a living? He says, I work in this office now, but I'm working my way towards my own business. I'm going to be doing this. And the guy says, well, good luck, keep in touch. 3 months later, he calls. And after he's called for 2 years, every 12 weeks, the guy says, the house is for sale. He says, okay. He said, how much do you want for it? He said, I want £1.2 million for it. He says, wow. Okay. He says, when do I need to buy it by? The guy said, I'm not in a hurry to sell the house. He said, but we are thinking about selling the house in the future. So come and see me in 3 months' time and tell me how much you want to pay me for the house. So he says, well, you've already said you want 1.2 million. He said, I know. He said, but by then you might want to pay me a bit more. Right?
I like the way he's put it up, is it? It's right, okay.
So he says, okay. So John Clench goes off and he goes back to work, and he's going past the house every day. I need to find the way to earn the money to buy the house. I need to find the way to money. Yeah. And an opportunity comes his way, and he takes it. And within 12 weeks, he's gone from having a deposit to having all the money for the house.
Okay.
Right? So, and when he tracks back through the book, he says, what I haven't told you about the house on the hill is how I achieved it. So you're questioning why. He said, this is what I did. And then he starts talking about the vision board and how he got picked, and he decorated every room in it. He'd already made the decision of what car was going to stand on the drive. He'd already made a decision of what school the kids would go to.
Yeah.
He'd already got all that mapped out in his head. So all he was trying to do was find the last little bit, was the guy agreeing to the house. He knew he couldn't afford it anyway, but he just kept building the vision, building the dream. And he said the rest of it will fall into place. The rest of it will fall into place.
So it's that self-assurance, really. It's not, I'm going to call it like...
I'll guarantee this, Nathan, right?
Confidence that will be achieved, right?
Right. You're a destructive person by nature, right? Because we all are. We all are,
to be fair.
right?
Yeah.
I know I'm the same. I remember my mum saying to me years ago, she said, you know who your worst enemy is, don't you? I said, who? She went, you.
Yourself.
She said, you always go for self-destruction. You'll get your businesses to a point, and then for some reason, you'll lose it all overnight. You always destroy it yourself.
Do you think that's because we're somehow afraid of it?
There you go. Now, that's the point I was going to make. Lots of people can go through all the visionary side and put it all down on paper, and wow, this is going to be a great life to lead. But in the back of their head, something's saying, you don't deserve that.
Right.
Now, a lot of that is because other people through your life have told you don't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Teachers who said, you're never going to come to nothing. Ex-partners who said, oh, well, you're never going to make anything out of your life. I'm off to, go and find somebody else.
Mate, my own mother and father did that to me. So I didn't have the very best of, and
this is the problem we end up with. So you've got to have that belief so entrenched in your brain that nothing, and I mean nothing, will remove it.
Okay. All right. I'm doing this. Okay.
Right. Over Christmas, I'm someone who's normally quite upbeat and quite positive about earning money. And over Christmas, Gloria will tell you this, I got into a real stomp. I couldn't get out of it. I'd got down to the bottom where I'd gone, fuck me, I'm nearly 60. I've got no way of me earning any money. I've got no way of me achieving what I want. Yeah. I've got nothing to leave the kids. Everything was against my thought set, right?
Yeah.
And then Gloria got up one night, and this was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was still up, just scrolling through my phone, and she had a go at me.
Okay.
And she had a nasty go at me, to that point where I went, who the hell are you? Because I don't know. That's not the partner I know who's just been, very placid towards life. And, she lashed me viciously and laid it on the line. And I got up the next morning, and since then, I definitely know that I'm heading back the right direction. So it's all good and well for me to sit here and say what you need to do, Nathan, but I'm also going through this process myself.
So you're doing it yourself?
Yeah. And I'm having to, because Gloria keeps on and on and on about, you've got to your age you are, you've got no money, you've got no income, what are you going to do about this? Whilst she's teaching other people how to do this for themselves. And I'm the first person who will go, oh, no, that's not going to work for me, though. Right? But I know lots of the knowledge she needs for her clients sit within my head. Things like this, where I know how to go through this inch by inch by inch. I know that I could get her to do this for her clients and get really good outcomes, right?
Yeah.
So, but you've got to believe it yourself, and that's where it starts. So that belief for me has to come from within. And I mean, mentally, you've got to mentally believe you can do it. You've got to physically believe you have the capability of doing it. Spiritually, you've got to be in for the game.
Yeah.
And I think if you and Holly are on the same page, if Holly's already on this journey of understanding the necessity to write these things down, and you are.
Oh shit, mate! She accuses me of being way too black pilled for this, but I guess what it has done is I like to challenge again. It's like I like to challenge myself, so I've looked into it again, and I don't mind doing that, which is why I don't mind testing things out. I'm happy to do that. So
that's what it's about. That's what it's about. For me, if we can accept that there is different options in life.
Yes.
Yes, life's very black and white, but there's always in between black and white. There's always this grey bit, and
I would say there's a bit of colour in there too that we often forget. I know the analogy, but
in between black and white, I can be very black on my thoughts or very white on my thoughts. And I try and keep out of the grey bit because I only want to be that way or that way. But
because, as a friend of mine said, it's simpler that way. But I like the bit in the middle.
what gets you from black to white is the bit in the middle.
Yeah.
If you're going to look at anything in life, we can look at religion and go, we both believe in God in different formats.
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation as two adults and go, well, actually, I did believe in that, but since I've been chatting to Nathan, actually, my thoughts have moved over here on this, and that's a bit. I didn't see that coming, and that's what it needs to be. And I think for new couples, especially, and Gloria and I haven't done this. She's been on my journey for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We was at the farm. She come to join me at my home. Uncle Ray died. She come to join me on my tour. All the way down the line, it's been about her falling in with mine, and we haven't had at that point where we haven't sat down and gone, okay. As a couple, what do we want? We're now starting to look at that, and what we might do in the future for a living, where we might live, all of those things which we're now starting to question that weren't there to be questioned in the future. But now
there's a whole different reality that's been constructed around it. So it's the same with me. There's a whole different. It's like the old one's being deconstructed as the other one's being reconstructed, like newly constructed. So it seems that. Yeah.
You said yourself, what can you do? So you by your own admission, you started building a website to which you see can earn you an income in the future through the knowledge what you have, doing the things what you want to do. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about something what I've been talking through with Gloria this week. Have you ever come across a philosophy of strive for 5?
No.
No?
No,
okay.
This is new. No. Do I need to write this down? Hold on a sec.
Write this down.
How do you spell strive for fun? How do you spell
strive as in to work towards something.
To work towards. So strive.
Strive for 5.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to go through this and try and find you the 5 things.
Yeah.
What you're going to do every day to move you towards these goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 minutes. I'm gonna stick it on a different sheet so that we. Because if we're going to do like bullet points and stuff, then
baby,
that's okay. So this is. I was going to say,
fresh bread.
It's what?
She's cooking fresh bread, and it's just doing my head in.
Oh man! Oh yeah, but the smell of bread, it's amazing. I always remember supermarkets when I was a kid in the 80s. You'd walk in, it would be the bread that you could smell everywhere. You don't get that anymore.
No, you don't. Right. So.
Yep.
You're saying that you've got a platform built, that you've now got the website built, you've got your Telegram groups and things built. You're building towards something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What needs to happen for you to earn money from that?
Okay. Do you want me to go into details?
Just cut to the basics.
All right. So one, I've already
So
got a book out.
is it something you're thinking you're going to physically sell?
Yes.
Is
Well,
it
yes, and
knowledge? Whatever.
yeah, knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got again, I've got a book out. There's more books in the process.
Yep.
We're looking into publishing. So there's
Yep.
something that I've done before. I've published like 3 books, including my own. So that's now available as a package. I've got a fundraiser on there. I've got like 18,000 quid's worth of Lego that is no use to me. So I need rid of that to
Yep.
build. So that's on there as a fundraiser. Again, other book projects. We've got events and seminars booked. Holly's got foraging courses. She's got a wealth of knowledge in herbalism and foraging and teaching, and so she's like qualified through. I mean, she makes me look like an amateur. So what I'm saying is, yes, we do have knowledge. There's knowledge there. There's outlets there. There's things that we can do with that now, which it's taken a long time to build up. But yes, there's a foundation already in place. Yeah.
Okay. And will those books you're talking about, will they be directly sold to the people that are on the groups at this moment on Telegram?
In terms of
the kind of person that's on the Telegram group, are they the kind of person what would buy those books?
I would imagine so, yes.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Because it's a cult-based knowledge. It's like a lot of history as well. History, philosophy, psychology, and the occult. Religion even. I mean, religion and politics, if you want to throw that in, natural law, things like that. So yeah, all of that bundled in together.
Okay, so what you need to work out is how many people you need on a Telegram group, right?
Yep.
Let's say for every 100 people on there, you sell 1 book.
Yeah.
Right?
It's about accurate, actually.
Okay. So the question is, how many books do you want to sell to earn the money you need? How many events do you need to put on? What does that need to look like? And then start breaking that down backwards. So for you, if you're saying you're going to run an event, okay, how many people do you want to get to the event? How much the ticket's going to be? How many books will you sell as a result? Work it all backwards.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to do that in real time or just write it down?
Yeah, if you want it, go for it. And what I would say is, and the reason I say this is a good thing to do is because if you're sitting there saying, right, I want 200 people at the seminar, right?
Yep.
And we're going to charge £100 a ticket, so it comes to 20 grand.
Yep.
Yeah. And everyone will get a free book to take home, but then I'll have some of my other books there to sell.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've got the potential of earning £120 a person for the thing, right? So out of that £120, I'm going to get £22,000 back. Let's say £24,000 back in.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking for £500,000. How many seminars would I need to do? If I was to do that, would those customers, once they're on the system, then buy other products off of me?
Yeah.
Right. So what you're trying to work out is how many people work backwardly do you need to get on the Telegram group to get one person to turn up at the seminar?
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing it down.
If you need 100 people to sell a book, how many books do you need to sell a ticket to the group? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you can work out the maths on it, and you can look at it really simply and say, okay, I need to be able to be in a position that I've got 10,000 people on the Telegram group.
Yeah.
Will sell me, 100 books. 100 books will earn me a couple of £1,000 or £1,000, whatever that might, whatever, right? But out of that, I'll have enough to get 100 people at a seminar or 200 people at a seminar.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I'm going to charge them £100 each. Those 200, they're all going to come. They're going to love it. I'm going to earn, a few £1,000 here, 20 grand.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, all I need to do is times that by 50. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this might take 2 years. I can break this down. Now I can start to see a picture. So the minute you can start to put the picture together and how many people you need to get there, then you can break it down really easy on how you then deliver that promise, what you and Holly have made together.
Yeah.
And you can say to Holly, okay, well, look, I'm going to be doing these seminars. You could do these seminars. We're going to bring these people together. We're going to do this. Here's the books I need on the day. I need this published. I need this done. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you just manifest everything backwards.
So it's constructing it from the ground up, isn't it? But but then
Absolutely.
you're doing it. You're looking at it retrospectively from, well, I'm there. How did I
Exactly.
get to that point? So okay.
The
So
problem we all have when we start a new business, Nathan, or a new relationship, what do? We don't look at where we want to get, where we want to finish. We start at the beginning at where we are. And I go,
yeah,
okay, Gloria and I met. She came to live with me because I'd got my house, so she came to live with me. Tick, box, finished.
yeah,
Right? If we were as a new couple and going, right, this is the house we want to go and see. As a new couple, this is the house we'd really like to live in. This is the car we'd like to sit on the drive. And then you then can drive each other. When you're having a negative day, Holly's going to say to you, yeah, but Nathan, come on, because we're heading towards this goal. And you can't do that when there's only your head in the game. So you need someone else to be pushing. And that way you're automatically got someone else coming along the journey with you. They're buying in and they're reminding you on a daily basis what game you're in. No, yeah, but all that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's on the news today. Have you done the 5 things? So you can then, once you've broke this down backwards, you then start looking at the 5 things every day that allow you to do that. So how many videos do you need to do a day to get people to join your Telegram group, to join your social media? So you go, right, well, if I do 1 video a day, that might get me, 20 new followers a week.
Yeah.
Right? 20 new followers will get me X amount, X amount, X amount, X amount. And that's what you work it out. So once you work it out backwards, then you can look at it and go, right, I need 100,000 followers.
Bloody hell. I mean, that's quite scary. I mean, we're on about afraid of success. I mean, that'll be massive. So.
Well, I've got 100,000 followers.
I know you do, mate.
And I started 2 years ago with nothing. So here's my point. So work that out back. When you work that out backwards, what would I need to do? What platforms would I need to to put this message out on? What we're going to deliver, because we've got the best information for those people to talk about the occult and those who want to know about it.
I was going to say, mate, I mean, we've got the platforms there already. We just need to build it. I mean,
there you go.
The radio station, YouTube,
Holly's got the best knowledge available for people to learn about. And it might, if there's ever been a time for anyone to learn about things like looking after themselves, fending for themselves for food, it is
now. Is that time?
Now, absolutely now. If all of history, now is the time, because in history everyone knew that stuff. Now nobody knows that stuff, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like the way. I mean, it changes your perception on. So it's taking a negative and making it into a positive. So there's always 2 ways to look at something. So yeah, that's a good perception. I like it.
So take that and go, right. So you and Holly sit down. You write out what this plan's going to look like. 2 separate letters.
Yep.
Right? Both handwritten, both addressed to yourselves. Put them in envelopes, and I'll tell you where to post them to. Right? And in a year's time, I'm going to post them back to you.
Okay.
Yep. And then you, in your own head, are going to say, right, so, let's be fair. If you could earn £500,000 in the next 2 years and Holly could do the same, you would be in a very great position, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very strong position, actually, considering,
all you need to then work out is backwardly what you need to do to achieve that.
Yeah.
And you can mathematically work it out. If I've got 100,000 followers on social media and I think to myself, right, you might come up with, I don't know, a range of T-shirts, let's say, and you're going to do you're going to rock up at festivals and promote this stuff. You're going to, like I do, you're going to hold your own events. You're going to get a couple of 100 people turn up. You're going to. So now, what can you sell them while they're there? Well, I'm definitely going to sell them a baseball cap. I'm going to sell them a T-shirt. I'm going to sell them
in your case,
whatever it might be. Yeah. I'm going to put some workbooks together that they can take home with them now.
Yeah.
And that's all the things you do. Now, your strive for 5 needs to be based around a certain amount of things. I would say you do 2 sets. You do what needs to happen in your work life to make sure you hit the commitments which move you to where you want to be in 24 months' time or 12 months' time, whatever that timeline is for you, right? And you also do a personal set for 5. So on a daily basis, here's the 5 things I'm going to do. And I'm really poor at reading. So for me, years ago when I was working with Dave Holland, one of the things which he used to get us to do was he would get us to read a book. so each month we'd have a reading list.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that because for me, and they were all about whether that was personal development, business development, whatever they might be. I struggled because I couldn't get my head around the reading side. So I used to say to him, look, Dave, already struggling with these. Could you make sure the books you recommend in future also have an audio? So I could then, because I could, whether it was a video, something like The Secret.
But, but the information is good. Again, there's different learning styles. There's different. I mean, I take like yourself to audio. I like audio. Visual is great, but I mean, I don't mind reading. But my preference, I guess, these days will be audio visual. So,
have you read a book called The Secret?
Ironically, it's over there, and
that isn't what I asked. I didn't ask if you've got it.
If
I
I've
asked
got it.
you
No,
read
I've
it.
not. No, I'm familiar with it. I've skipped through it. I know what it's in. No, I've not read it, but I do have it.
I'm going to quest you with something in between now and when we do our next video.
All right. Okay.
Is that you take that book off the shelf, dust it down, open the cover, and start to read some of it each day. And each day, just read a chapter a day, or whether that, or download it if you need to download it.
I mean, it's easy enough to get through. So
right, it's not a difficult book. Once you've read it, I guarantee your mindset will change on how you start to think about all this and how it all fits together. I absolutely 100% guarantee it.
You know, there's going to be people out there going, "What a hypocrite." So, but equally, I'm open to challenge stuff. I'm happy to re-look at things, to change my perception, to change. Okay, I'll take this. So I'm going to put all personal philosophies and opinions aside. I will do this for the sake. I mean, we've got a live recording of it, so I will do this.
If the worst case scenario comes out and you don't benefit from it, you can turn around and say to me, Mark, I've proved my point. This is all bollocks.
Exactly.
Right?
But either way, we're doing something with that information.
Exactly.
Whether it's I mean, it is an experiment, it's a challenge. So I'll absolutely do this. So
I need you to do three things. One is get that book off a shelf and dust it down. Start reading that book, chapter a day, or more, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Secondly, do 2 strive for 5s. One's your personal one each day. So the 5 things you're going to do, one of them might be to read a chapter of that book.
Okay. 2
might be you're going to go through your closet and chuck out or sell all the shit you don't want because you're not going to want to move that to your new home.
Oh, mate, I've been through that process about 5 times since I moved in this place.
and each day you're just going to do one little thing.
Yeah.
Get rid of one little thing. We'll chuck that thing out, or I'm going to sell that, dump it in charity shop, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Whatever those 5 personal things need to be. One of those might be every day you're just going to ring Holly just to say, hey, darling, I just phoned to say I love you. Right?
Well, I'll do that anyway, but yeah.
So these 5 things are whatever you decide they're going to be, right?
Okay.
And then on the other side of your personal, do the business side.
Yeah.
And then on the business side, you're going to write down the 5 things what you need to say. Right. What are my immediate tasks? I need to get that website finished.
Yeah.
And I need to think what I'm going to sell on there to earn money.
Yeah.
Then you can start saying, okay, the website's finished. I need to start building up my social media to be able to advertise the website. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I need to start finding their audience. We can then start getting you on the radio show and start doing a live on the radio show so that we can start talking and building up the audience for what you're talking about. And then they can be pushed towards your website.
I mean, that's on the cards anyway. It's just putting things into place at the minute. So absolutely. Yeah.
So then you can start to see, and what I would say is each day on your personal list, make sure you start working towards that vision board, that goal, that understanding of what makes it possible for you and Holly to have what you both want.
Yeah, got it. I'm writing this down as we're going along.
And then on the business side, you've got the things that you've got to do on a daily basis. Right, I need to think about getting a website up. I need to think about getting a donation button on there. Go
set up. Yeah.
Yeah, go to buy me a coffee, go to GoFundMe, whatever it needs to be. We'll always laugh, and Gloria will say to me, you keep advertising this £1 a month. Well, we've got £2,500 a month coming in now, purely from donations from people saying, I want to support your work, Mark.
Yeah.
Right? Purely.
So it is effective. I mean, which is brilliant, by the way. Yeah.
And some of it, I didn't know why I was doing some of the things I'm doing, but now they're starting to come to fruition, yeah?
I can relate to that as well. But then that's where it gets mystical. So for some... Go on, I was just going to say, just to add context to what you've just said there, So for some reason, over the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, I kept ending up in Oxfordshire, right? Now, for reasons that I didn't understand. So I'm friends with Mark Devlin and friends with Ben Emlyn Jones, right? So there's two reasons that I go to Oxfordshire because that's where they're based, right? I meet up with them and do events with them, stop over. Okay, so there's that. And looking back at it, it's like, well, why do I keep ending up in Oxfordshire? I like Oxford. I like the city. I like the place. I like right now. Holly, when I met her, she was in a group. Well, she was in one of Steve's groups, and Steve's based in the northeast, right? So he's in Blythe, further up from Newcastle. But she was in that group, right? And yet she's based in Oxfordshire, right? Which to me, it's like, oh, that's what it's been building me up for. That's why.
Yep.
So now I've got a social circle in Oxford. So there's two. I've got two mates down there that I get on with very well, and now I've got a girlfriend down there. It's like, oh, I see where this is. It's been built. It's constructing. Now I'm just starting to see how and why. So it was just to give a bit of emphasis on what you're saying there, just to bring it into a bit of focus for the listener, obviously. And then, okay. Yeah. So sorry to interrupt. I just thought we ran.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Now, one of the other things what I do normally on a weekly basis, I go through the stats on my social media. Yeah. So I've just got a simple list.
Yeah.
Bowler Hat Farmer, how many followers? YouTube, how many followers? What are you? Them. Yeah. Whatever that might be, and I write down the stats. Then I know I'm heading the right direction. Yes. So that's one of my 5 things I need to do. Yeah, in my Strive for 5 every day. Subliminally, I'm doing that. Yeah. I'm pushing to get more people on social media following me, and then I can write at the end of the week. I can write those figures down, and I know in my head I've achieved what I could tick it off my list mentally, and I know that if I've got more followers, I've got more donors, I've got more money,
and it's all building sequentially. So it's collectively
it's building that platform.
Yeah.
So, and that's really important because then you can track where you are. Okay. At the end of the first week, where am I? Oh, Jesus, we've got 30 followers, darling. Really? Yeah. And I'm halfway through a new book. Week 2. How are you getting on? We've completed that book and we've got 60 followers. And you can start to, because if you know the end goal is you need 1 million followers or 100,000 followers to get you the income stream you want, then you can start to look at it really simply, And that Strive for 5 is a real simple way to hold yourself accountable every day, because you don't go to bed until you've done your Strive for 5. Now,
so ritualize it, almost.
Absolutely.
Set it in stone, kind of.
You set it in stone. Now, I used to do it from a point years ago when I very first came across Strive for 5. I used to do it from a point of business cards, flyers, leaflets, whatever that might be. Yeah. So I knew if I gave out 5 business cards every day, that was one of my things. I knew if I gave out 5 brochures a week, so I would go, I'd say, right, 5 brochures a week, I guarantee will get me a customer. Right. So I knew how many business cards I had to give out to get out 1 brochure, to get out 1 phone call, to get that conversation. And I would work it all backwards and monitor all this stuff from your side. Mm-hmm. How many videos you got to do? How many followers have you got to have? How many? You ain't going to know. Right. Yeah. But monitor as it builds, monitor it. And then you can say, right, I got to 100,000 views on my videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've made 1 sale. Okay.
Yeah.
I've sold 1 book for £10. Okay. I need to up my game. So then you can start looking at it going, okay, how could I sell 2 books? Well, when I was talking to the people on those videos, did I even mention the fact I've got a book, or did someone just find that by chance? And then just start dropping the fact in. Richard Vobes, classic example, never ever put his books on his website to sell them. Just said to people, I'm writing a book about Biggleswick Farm. Right? So what did he do? He wrote the book, and everyone was messaging him saying, Richard, can I get a copy of the book, please? Right? So but this is what you do. So you slowly build up the storyboard of, you might have a vision board for your personal life and for your business, and then you do your Strive for 5 each day. Keep them in a folder. Every day, do yourself an A4 sheet and just, boom, right, that's what I did today. Right, tick, it's in the folder. Move on to tomorrow. What are the 5 things I need to get done tomorrow? Right, the 5 things I need to get done tomorrow are, well, I obviously need to do my videos. I need to do my radio. I need to do, increase my following on social media. Right, what else have I got to get done?
I was going
Oh,
to say, but as you're doing that though, you're fulfilling a sense of purpose as you're going along, which I always find that if you're doing something productive, you always feel better for it anyway. So if you're ticking those 5 things off on a regular like every day, and you're sticking a lot again, ritualizing it almost, putting it into like a routine,
yeah,
um, but you always feel better because you've done something, and it's been something
absolutely.
that you've wanted to achieve. So
Yeah.
it's that, isn't it? It's purpose and achievement. So
Where's the nearest McLaren showroom to you?
I think Leeds is the one that I'm aware of, but I mean it's got to be some more down south. I would imagine. I can't imagine Leeds would be the only one in the country by a, but anyway, Leeds is the closest
I
one.
would think it's hard to believe it's the only one in the country.
But I was going to say, I mean,
Leeds is
but
hardly the capital, is it? I know there's
not
definitely
really.
one
No,
inside the
no.
smoke. I know there's one down in London.
Fair enough. Oh,
It'd be
God, London. I
interesting
think I
to.
prefer Leeds.
Well, there you go. It's a
Yeah.
second challenge for you. When we get off this video, I want you to go and research it and find out where your nearest McLaren
All right.
centre is, and and find out what's the next step to getting a test drive. Well, you're not going to be able to because you don't have a license. But what I would say is,
Yeah.
what you could do is you could message them and say, I'm looking to buy a McLaren in the future, and I'm just wondering, is it possible to come and look round? And is it possible, because I don't drive at this point, is it possible for someone to take me
I mean,
out?
I just look at their faces when I say that because I think I need to record that, don't I? So
It might be, maybe you need to take Holly and let Holly test drive. I don't even know if they let you test drive McLarens. I don't know. But go to the showroom, sit in the bloody thing, smell that leather, tell them you want it. Just ask the question while you're there. Do you do a cream leather interior for these?
Okay.
See what the answer is, And if they say no, say, and I would say, if they say no, I would say, is it something we could get as an extra?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I'm all. Yeah.
Put it out there. So
Yeah.
So your challenge between me and you talking next is get the secret off the shelf and start reading it.
Right.
Find out where your nearest McLaren showroom is and do up a strive for 5.
Right.
Right?
2. Yeah.
And then you need to get on the phone to Holly and say, right, I've just had this conversation with Mark.
She's gonna fucking love this. She is.
I
this
know,
is gonna
right?
tickle her somewhat chronic.
Right, Holly, I'm on this quest. I want to prove to Mark it can't be done. Right?
She's gonna. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right?
She's on your side with this one. I think.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't put it into your head that you can't be done. Right? And say to her, right, I want to prove to myself this can be done.
Yeah.
Right. And as a result of that, here's what I want us to do. I want us to sit down next time we're together, whenever that is. I want us to sit down and write what our future is going to look like. What's it going to look like in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time? And then write down where you want to be in a year's time and put it in a letter each, and then I'll tell you where to post it.
All right, done. Well, I mean that's doable. I mean, right there, that's doable. I can do all of that. So, all right, mate.
How do you eat an elephant?
How did I what?
How do you eat an elephant?
You got to kill
One
it
bite at a
first.
time. One bite at a time. You can't eat the whole thing in one go.
I was going to say I like elephants. I've got some up there.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, I like animals. But there you go. Hence, I want to save the planet and work with people who are like-minded.
Actually, I do wonder about that statement because I don't think the planet's in trouble. I think we are.
I know. Well, you've said I've heard this somewhere else as well. I think it was George Carlin. George Carlin said in one of his sketches, and he was on about all of these people going out, save the world, save the planet. He said, fuck that for, he said, it's the people that I worry about. It's that's where the problem is. And it's like, okay, he said the planet will take care of itself. If humans go extinct, the planet will just replenish anyway, right? It'll figure a way out of doing it.
The big part of the problem is that nobody has, I see it in my kids, they've got no goals anymore. They've got no desire.
No purpose.
Right? There's no purpose, right? It's been removed. This is what we've got to start putting back. So I'm giving this to you. Your purpose. Is now to do that, to do what you've got to do.
Done.
And every person we can influence in the future, between what Gloria's doing, what you're doing, what I'm doing, we can give them some purpose and then there will be less chance of them becoming eliminated as life progresses because they'll have a purpose to want to survive.
Well, here's the other thing, this is going into weird territory, so I'll make it quick, mate, because I know we've been going for a while. Holly and I have noticed subtle changes in what we refer to as the timeline, right? Yep. And it's like, well, what have you changed? And it's like, well, what makes you think it was me? It should be say because you did that, and now that's the result of that. And I'm like, Well, yeah. What I'm hinting at there is that if we all kind of get on board or like on the same page, if we all unify behind this stuff, we all work together for a common objective, right?
Yeah.
And we all start to manifest a better outcome, right? And I mean that I mean manifest as in
Yeah, yeah,
active manifestation. I don't just
yeah,
again not the new age airy fairy view. I mean
yeah,
what
yeah.
we've been discussing here,
Properly.
which is if we can all get onto that page, this dystopian reality that seems to be forming around us, that doesn't have to be the outcome. As far as I'm concerned, and we've both said many times, right, that this does not have to be our fate. This is only the fate according to the social engineers, which we
Absolutely.
are not aligned with, right? And
No.
and again, day by day, there's things coming out. People are waking up. The awareness is spreading. The Epstein files are getting out. That people are asking questions. They're looking
Yeah.
around and going, "What's wrong with the world?" To me, that's a brilliant step, right? That so and so that's one of yeah, I think we're further along. You know, if we use the stair analogy that we used
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week, let's say that's step 3. Step 6 or 7 is, well, oh God, I've just realized what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a load of teenagers going, 6, 7. Right. Step 8, forget that. Right. We're on step 8 now, decided. Step 8 is, right, well, we've realized that actually we can change things and we're going to do it differently. Right. And so that's what we're attaining. So I don't think that reality is as static and as fixed as we are told that it is. I do think that we can change timelines even just through a subtle change in consciousness. I guess
Yep.
even
I
that,
agree.
even that. And,
I
and
agree.
this what we're dealing with here is consciousness, effectively improving
Yep.
it and building up, enlightening ourselves, enlightening the world, making it all positive and making it a better place for everyone. But
Yep.
right, mate. We've got a ton of stuff in there. I think for the first time ever, have we
Did you
actually
get?
answered the question?
You
Did we
didn't
say
answer the questions, did we? Shit,
well,
that's
okay.
remarkable for us.
Yeah, well, we didn't go into the poisons and the cosmetics and stuff like
Oh
that.
well,
But
let's
that's
let's let's do that as a separate video, and in the
absolutely
meantime, I'm going to send you that video that I got sent
brilliant.
this morning about the 7 things
Yeah,
because I think that's poignant as a video. You know, it's the kind of
yeah,
thing you
especially
could,
for this topic. Yeah,
it's the kind
yeah.
of thing you could drop into the video as we make it and say
Oh, I can
and
do that.
actually
Yeah,
show that, yeah, actually show that as a video on screen. And why we're talking about these things because that video so short, so quick and sharp. I was like, whoa, that was like I messaged the girl who sent it to me. I said that was like rocket fuel. It was just so crisp. It was brilliant. So I'll send you
okay.
that and see what you think.
Right. In that case, the next one then. So for episode 7, we're gonna go through and we're gonna do it like I guess it's a reaction video, isn't it? Or however, we're gonna put it on and then dissect it, add a little bit to it ourselves, and then take it from there. So, mate,
Indeed.
I'm once again I'm chuffed with this as an episode. My stomach's grumbling at me, and
Mine too.
I've got well, Gloria will be grumbling at you if I don't let you go shortly, and then me. So sorry, Gloria, my fault. I've also got an interview with Ben Emlyn Jones this evening, or hopefully, unless I know he's having camera issues, but
Right.
so hopefully that's gone ahead. So I need to go fill me belly up and get on another podcast.
On that
Right,
case,
Mark,
mate, I'll see you soon.
you will do, mate. That's been brilliant. So
Talk soon, buddy.
just fftradio.com and well, go have a look at Mark's stuff for that. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're all over the place at the minute, aren't you? So
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a lot of festivals this year, and we're going to be doing a lot.
ooh,
I've been invited today to speak at flower festivals and all sorts of things. So
bloody
yeah,
hell.
there's loads of stuff coming up this year. So I've kind of come to the conclusion. I haven't told Gloria yet, but I've got myself back in the game, and I've been out of the game since I
Good.
finished the tour last year, and I'd been very suppressed and allowing crap to get on top of me. And I'm actually now finding Mark again. I'm a summer person, Nathan.
Oh, me too. I hate the winter. It's
I
depressing and
love
dull, and
the
yeah,
summer. And in the
yeah.
summer, I can just buzz. I'm like a bee. I just buzz in the summer. In the winter, I have to go and fucking hibernate.
I can certainly relate to that one as well. Right, guys.
Right, mate.
I say guys. I'm speaking to the audience now, and I don't. There might be nobody watching. So, for yourself and Gloria there, I hope you enjoy your tea. Thank you very much for coming on, and once again, it's been an absolutely fantastic chat. So, and for anybody that is listening in, hopefully thousands at this point, No, we have to manifest thousands. It is thousands.
Absolutely thousands.
NathanLucius.com and FFTradio.com, and find our stuff on there and on YouTube, and there's more to come. So, Mark, thank you very much,
Nathan,
and pleasure as always, mate.
always. See you soon, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.